I'm slowly getting used to where the new unmute button is. Hello, hello, good evening. I only clicked on the wrong thing like twice. That's an improvement. Funnily enough, that is genuinely an improvement. Also, hello, hello, welcome in and good evening. We are back. It's 10:30. Good evening to you especially. 1 second. Good evening to you especially. I do not care. I say good evening. I'm so used to saying good evening. I like any time, which isn't often, but anytime I do stream and it's not actually in the evening, I'm also like still inclined to say good evening, despite it being like, I don't know, 11 a.m. my time. This hasn't happened in recent times, but it has happened before, so yeah, I can't help it. It's so ingrained. Many years ago, back when I initially started streaming, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make my own reading, and I don't know, I think I've gone through like 3 of them. And for some reason, the hello, good evening has stuck around the longest. You just live in the weird side. I mean, I don't live in America at all. So, yawn there, partner. No, but yeah, welcome back to National Park Girls. We unfortunately did not, you know, last week was weird. Every week's been weird. My real life has not been how I would like it to be. So I'm hoping to get through episode 3 tonight, so I can at least say, hey, we've managed to do something tonight. We drive to the parks, not the Park Girls Drive. Ooh, like I said, though, I'm not sure I would trust any of these girls behind the wheel. I'm serious. I don't know. Like, I mean, the thing is, we haven't even seen. No, I don't think I would trust any of them. Neither the National Park Girls nor our main girl. I don't think I like, because I have not seen her. I have seen her in a car, but I've not seen her drive the car herself. So I'm like, tall enough. That's not my main issue. Though it would be funny, I think. I think it would be very funny. Imagine getting stopped by the police and it's like, yeah, your papers, please. And you're like, I'm a national park. Okay, your papers, please. Oh boy, do I remember what happened last time? Yeah, I do. I do remember. We almost caused the extinction of the entire human race. What? No. I also think you put in an antler. Papers, Please, like the game, yeah. Funnily enough, I talked about Papers, Please with a colleague just today, because she was like, oh yeah, I really want, like, she recently 100% completed Stardew Valley, and now she's like, I need a new game. I think I'm gonna start Papers, Please. I'm like, okay, good luck, have fun with that. It's one of those games that I do want to try playing as well, because I heard only good things about it, but I haven't. So, as it is, as it always is, too many games, so little time. I'm running out of time to actually start playing Infinite Wealth. I said I start playing Infinite Wealth in February, and February is almost over. So, anyway, try to remember. I don't know what we're trying to remember, but this is episode 3, so let's get to it. Remember what she thought you, her stories, who she was, who she still is.
Yosemite! Wherever are you hiding?
The voice.
Oh dear me. If she doesn't appear soon, I won't be able to tell her a story. Our picnic will be ruined. Whatever shall I do?
It still sounds so warm, as angelic as I remember. Remember. At least I can still do that much. Not all of us are so lucky.
Wait, I'm right here! I want to hear this story!
Did I seriously fall for that? Such a simple trick. Yet I can't help but wish to return to the days where I would fall for it.
Oh, I'm not so sure now. It's getting rather late. Perhaps we should return to the cabin. Preposterous! It's preposterous, dear.
Close enough. Oh, close enough.
Preposterous!
There was a quick rustle. My hat popped out from the bush. Or was it from behind a tree? Definitely some type of flora.
Please, Zion! I want to hear the story about the again. Tell me the story.
Oh. What story was it? I'm not sure if I can recall it. It was something simple, right? A fable and positive. The descriptor is on the tip of my tongue, I know it is. So why does the memory feel fuzzy when I think of it? Why does the word crackle out like radio static?
Goodness. I suppose I have no choice then. No, you certainly do not.
Zion laughed. Her laugh was always so beautiful, like a song. It would always draw the birds to her. They would perch themselves on her shoulders, her wings, her antlers, back when she had them.
Very well. Come sit down, little one. You can't listen to a story from all the way over there, now can you?
I crawled out from whatever plant it was I was hiding behind. Sitting on a long toppled over tree, Zion patted her lap. Her gown fluttered all the way down her long body and drifted with the wind. I looked up to smile at her. I remember that much. And... oh. And what? I looked up to smile at her and there was no face. That can't be right. But no matter how hard I tried to remember, her face is a blur. Her voice was beautiful, her build was tall, so what did she look like?
Coming!
I skipped over to where she was sitting, and the more I think about it, the blurrier it gets. Details begin to blend. Patches of dirt and grass I was romping across mixed together. They're spiraled in green and brown vortex now. Was it even a log she was sitting on? Could it have been a rock? By the time I was sitting on her lap, it doesn't matter. By the time I was sitting on her lap, she was my anchor.
Straighten your posture.
I stole the antlers! Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, the story. I will pretend I don't see what you wrote there.
But Zion, must I really? Only if you respect yourself.
Whining, I pulled back my slumped shoulders, then rolled my eyes at her. Except now I don't have a face either.
Now?
Zion nodded, but now it looks like watercolor sweating down a canvas.
Once upon a time, in a field. In the past, he had been... including his clothes. While wandering the endless...
More vanishing words now. Why aren't they coming to me? Where did they go? Everything is congealing together now. Everything about this, I can only remember it as if I saw it all through tears. The world as I knew it is only a kaleidoscope now, a mash of people, of colors, of sounds. Not this one. Please, any memory but this. It's too precious. Let me hear it again. Let me hear the story. Let me hear your voice. Please.
Yosemite. Yosemite. Yosemite.
Oh, that's it. The difference in the voice is very interesting. There's a tug in my sleeve. I feel the breath leave my body as I gasp, pulling me back into consciousness. Jolie? No, I think that's a typo. That's supposed to say jolt. You know, on a QWERTY keyboard. I'm assuming. You know, I think that's... I jolt up in my seat. Zion flinches. Clenching my chest, I look down on her. Her wings are tucked in and wrapped around her like a blanket. The mangy pup is at her side, standing guard in case I make any sudden movements. Creature!
Go back to sleep, boy.
Her voice is gentle but firm. Seeing such authority protrude from this new small body of hers is comical. But just like animals always do with her, the puppy listens, and after a cursory glance, it trots over to its overfluffed bed and lays down. Light has just barely begun to creep through the window. The entire cabin is tinted in an untouched blue. Scattered across the room, I can hear Yellowstone and the ranger snoring. The ranger is louder. I attempt to ask her what she's doing awake so early, but a yawn breaks through instead. Hi, Bubba. Only an impression of a sentence comes out.
I'm always awake this early. It's peaceful.
Her wings spread out, the feathers puffing up. She plants her hands on her waist and gives me a scolding glance.
I think the real question is, why are you sleeping at the table? It's so hard and uncomfy. No wonder you mutter in your sleep.
I wasn't sleeping. It was just a quick catnap.
The glare only gets more stern as she flaps her wings and hovers off the ground. Soft bursts of wind kiss my face, my only warning.
You were buried in your research again.
The early stream again. Drat. These stacks of books and paper on the table always make it nothing but obvious.
Weren't you?
No. Even now, after all this time and all these changes, she's still like this. At least I can latch onto it and take some small comfort.
Can't get anything past you.
I give a fake sigh and let it dissolve into a smile.
I was.
There's not much else I can say that wouldn't just extend the theatrics. Zion exhales deeply, landing back on the ground. Instead of stern, she only looks worried now.
I know it means a lot to you. And I don't want you to stop or anything, but... You always get so cranky when you put too much of yourself into it.
Crank?
It's sad to watch when it happens. At least get some good sleep so you're well rested. Please?
She stares up at me, hands folded and pleading. There's warmth in her eyes, as there always has been. Yet they aren't the same eyes I grew to cherish. They're different now. And they've been different for a long time.
Come here, little one.
I beckon her forward with my finger. She doesn't hesitate to come in for an embrace. Nestling close, she squeezes me tight.
You know I get anxious real easy.
Oh.
I know. Sorry for making you worry.
I pat her, bringing her with me as I do my best to rock and forth in this chair. Okay. Yes, I can take comfort in the small reminders of the past, but it will never be the same as when it was. Existing like this, hugging her like this. Perhaps it's important to love it despite everything, but it rings so hollow. I wish it wouldn't.
Say, Zion?
Her voice is muffled. She looks up, only hair and a pair of eyes, the rest of her still buried in my clothes.
Do you remember that story we like? The one you used to always tell me?
She tilts her head.
No. You and Yellowstone are the ones who tell stories.
Oh no.
That's how it's always been.
No, that's not right. No, not always.
Maybe I've told it to you before then. It's about an animal, right? Some kind of bird?
Touching her head, she tries to squeeze the information out of herself, but it just ends up looking painful.
I think you mentioned something about it recently, but I don't remember. I'm sorry.
It's not surprising, but it doesn't keep it from being any less disappointing.
No need to apologize.
I bring her back in close. If she saw the look on my face, it would only worry her more.
Occasionally, things just slip our minds. It's just something that happens over time.
But it still hurts. Chapter 3, Daughter of Zion. Ooh.
For the love of God, Yellowstone! If you're gonna bellyache about needing help with the cleaning, then the least you can do is sweep up the soot from your head Kano!
Head Kano! I drag my finger along the floorboard. A chalky grey powder sticks to it. It's like someone sprinkled ashes from the fireplace.
You're yelling at air. She and Zion went out to find trouble hours ago.
Damn. Yosemite is sitting over at the table in her usual spot because there's literally nothing better for her to do. But instead of flipping through a book or scribbling down notes in handwriting I cannot read for the life of me, she's just sitting there, her hands clasped together and resting beneath her nose.
I'm yelling at her in the general sense. It's a hypothetical yell.
Hypothetical. Okay.
It's not hypothetical if you say it out loud.
Stop being a smartass.
And it's not a Saturday morning if you aren't being a pain in the ass.
You love it.
I tolerate it.
And you're blushing.
Coffee?
Please.
By the time I'm over at the table, she already has a steaming hot cup of coffee for me, straight from the percolator.
I need this.
I flop down in the chair. When I stare down into the cup, it's thick and black and swirling with just a little bit of sugar. Huh, she remembered. Here's to you, you overgrown tree.
Exasperating morning.
Every day of my life is exasperating.
Well.
But this...
I take a quick gulp from my mug. If I don't breathe, that doesn't burn as bad.
This has the added bonus of being my day off.
Ooh, a day off. They just don't know it. They don't quite know it.
Isn't that normally a good thing?
You would think so, right? But this also happens to be the day my boss is visiting.
That shouldn't be allowed if it's your day off.
The chatty woman who seems far more respectable than you? I assumed you two got along.
What's up, girl kissers? And what? Why am I not included in the girl kissers? I'm also a girl kisser. What do you mean? It's hard to get angry at that remark, even if it is chock full of sass. Jessie's absolutely more respectable than me.
Oh, yeah, she's a hoot. But her mercy isn't eternal.
Nope.
Which means no messes, no coyotes, and... I can't believe life has led me to a point where I actually have to say this out loud. No park girls.
Somebody raises an eyebrow, but I don't detect any of her usual smom behind it.
Is that really what you call us?
What, you want to be a ghost forever?
I slink down, scanning the permanent mess of research cluttering the table. A joyless smirk sprouts from my lips.
No, I suppose not.
Anyway, I was hoping to get Yellowstone's help with tidying up this sty, but seeing as she's not here...
I check what's left of my coffee and slam it down with a satisfying clank.
You'll be helping instead.
Oh, I don't think she's gonna be a big fan of that.
You just decided that, huh?
Sure did. Not like you're actually doing anything productive.
And she isn't. Unless you count staring at a wall productive, she's just been daydreaming all morning. I expect at least a little pushback, but aside from a dirty look, which, let's be real, is just her regular face, she starts organizing her research into nice, orderly stacks.
I'll help you out, but only so Yellowstone doesn't have more work to do. Try to tell me how to clean, and I'll use your hat as a rag.
She sounds utterly defeated while saying it. Did I stumble my way into taming her? Life really is full of happy accidents.
That's what I like to hear. See how peaceful things can be when you just bend to my will.
You only want her to bend to your will? You don't want to bend her over something else? Okay. I say it jokingly, but you know what? It's true. My life would be so much easier if everyone just listened to what I said.
Mm-hmm.
With her books and papers now compartmentalized, okay, that's a word, she places them inside the cardboard box that takes up half the table, then lugs it over to the bookshelf. That's it? Just, No snide comments about squashing my growing ego, no sweeping declarations of hypocrisy. Girl, it's okay. It's okay. Must be enough there.
You feeling okay today? If you're running a fever, you should tell me now so I can report any fires before they get out of hand.
She walks past me and takes to the sink. Not even bothering to turn on the faucet, she wrings out the water from her hand and lets it run over the dirty plates in the sink. Slightly revolting, I guess, but I'm way beyond the point of thinking too hard about this kind of stuff.
I feel fine.
Turning away from me, she goes back to the dishes, brushing me off the wave of her hand.
I have my doubts, but assuming you know how to use a broom, get the area by the couch. That part of the floor is where Yellowstone sleeps.
Now that she mentions it, I don't think I've ever seen Yellowstone sleep on a couch. Assuming he guards her with the ferocity of a Rottweiler, leaving poor Yellowstone to wiggle on the floor like a slug in her sleeping bag. It almost makes me feel bad for all those times I kicked her out of bed. Almost. I head for the closet and fish out the broom, dragging the brush along the floorboards as I head for the couch. It's really the most efficient way to clean the maximum amount of space. What? It doesn't take long for Pup to take notice of it. He crouches onto his front paws, his tail wagging in the air as the broom skids around like prey.
Don't you even.
You let a coyote pop in here and let it live here. You really don't think it's gonna start pouncing on the little broom you have there? Nah. That was my first mistake, because when I yank the broom back, he pounces. He lands on the hand of the broom. I feel the weight immediately, unable to even tug on it without pulling him along too.
No.
As if challenging me, he bites into the brush.
You little gremlin!
I try to pull it away from him, but he just takes that as his cue to pull it towards himself.
Let go.
I pull. He pulls. Amazing. He baited me into playing tug of war. I bet it was his plan all along. As much as I would love to spend more time with the goodest boy in the whole world, I decide to end it then and there. I drop the broom and walk over, picking him up by the scruff of his neck.
God, you're getting so heavy.
It's like he knows it too, because he just pants happily while he dangles there. He really has grown since I was first stationed here. Before, I could easily pick him up with one hand. Now it's a bit of a workout.
Bad.
Bad! He licks his chops.
But also, so good.
Oh, you're so good at telling him off. He's definitely gonna remember that he's not supposed to be doing that if you tell him bad one time and immediately go, "Aw, who's my best puppy in the world?" You only even finished part 4 today? Aw. See? I gave you a chance to get ahead. I'm too much of a sucker to do any actual scolding, but at the same time, he's too much of a liability right now. Jessie would have my hat and probably do the decapitation herself if she saw him. I carry him over to the door and toss him onto the porch, slamming the door shut before he can charge back in. He'll just have to stay outside until the visit is over. Aww. There it is, the waterworks. Saddest woo in the world. Not long after, he starts scratching at the door.
Is leaving him out there a good idea? What if he goes to the campground?
Great. He'll love the attention. You should have seen him when he was down there last week. All the kids were begging their parents to take him home.
No, we cannot take this coyote with us.
That's a bad thing?
It's a thing. Humans are hardwired to love the cute little fuzzy wuzzies.
She says, also doting on the cute little fuzzy wuzzies.
Also, thank you for the follow-up. Come in.
Scratching at the door stops. Yosemite freezes, dropping a plate in the sink. It doesn't shatter, but I wish it did, because at least that would end the silence. My head turns. The only word I can use to describe the look on her face would be concerned. I cough because any noise will ease my discomfort at this point.
Anyway, it's not a big deal. Just until Jessie leaves.
Yosemite rolls her eyes and shrugs off the encounter. I make the walk of shame back to the broom and start to sweep.
So tell me, Ranger, why is she coming? Doesn't she typically call you over the radio to check in?
She said she just wanted to catch up. Lord knows why when she has 1,000 more important things she could be doing.
The dust on the floor is barely moved. It's just more smeared around now. Damn, broom must be defective.
Maybe she considers you important.
I stop.
For her sake, I hope she doesn't. I'm just gonna keep letting her down.
It's already happened more times than I can count. This last time, she was the only thing standing between me and unemployment. I still have no idea how she managed to get the lawsuit swept under the rug.
Knowing her, though, I'm sure she'll just keep poking her nose into my business.
Don't take it for granted. You might not always have someone like that.
Yosemite doesn't stop washing the dishes this time, but there's an unfamiliar weight behind the words. A tinge of wistfulness.
Yeah, I know.
It's weird. No matter how hopeless I became, Jessie was the only person who constantly insisted that this job has any value. That I have value. I don't know if she's right, but sometimes it was enough to actually make me feel like I was important.
Since when did you start giving good advice?
Since before you were born. But you're just too stubborn to listen.
Nah, that can't be right.
Oh, big stomps. A culture of muffled stomps and voices practically breaks down the door. It's such an unfocused record, it sounds like a middle school marching band just descended upon the porch. I think, that's a good descriptor because Yellowstone definitely has the impact of a middle school marching band. Yellowstone's voice carries a tune from outside. My ears are already bracing for impact. She swings open the door, striking the wall with the doorknob. The dishes on the counter rattle.
I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day.
She marches into the cabin, caked from head to toe with dry mud, and tracking it right behind her.
than working on the railroad just to pass the time away.
Why did they pick that one up? Zion trots in behind her singing the rest of the verse. She's also drenched in mud everywhere from her angelic hair to her pretty gown. At least she has the decency to fly instead of getting it on the floor, though.
Can't you hear the whistle blowing? Rise up so early in the morn.
She storms around the room, spreading the gospel of mud from floorboard to floorboard. Zion follows behind her happily. I can feel the scowl forming across my lips, my eye twitching.
Can't you hear the whistle blowing?
Finally, once there's a trail of muddy footsteps spiraling around the cabin, Yellowstone makes her way to me and leans in.
Dinah blow your horn.
Okay! She pulls down on the air twice like a train whistle. I think she's done. There's a long pause as Yellowstone waits for something. Maybe it's a smile, or maybe she's waiting for me to crack.
What's the matter, Ranger? Ain't you gonna say howdy?
You.
Uh-oh.
Yellowstone!
You.
My voice is a low growl.
Yellowstone?
Her voice is a scared whimper.
Do you realize what you've just done?
To be fair, you weren't very far with all of the sweeping. I grab her shoulders, digging my fingernails into her clothes. She shrinks back and I feel like a giant. Fear swims in her eyes.
Did I sing too loud?
Look.
My hands move from her shoulders to her head. I twist her to each spot on the floor the mud is stuck to, forcing her to face her destruction. To face the destruction she has wrought.
Oh, that ain't a big dealio. I can clean that up lickety-split.
Lickety-split, huh? How long is that? It better be seconds because my boss will be here any minute.
Oh, jeez. I had no idea. Honest, I'm real sorry, Eve. Let me try and make it up to you.
As good at it as I am, it's hard to stay angry at her for too long. With how often she cleans this place, I know she didn't do it on purpose. All she's guilty of is being an airhead, and getting uppity with an airhead just makes me a tyrant. I sigh. I can't read. Down from fury to mild annoyance. Progress.
Don't worry about it. We'll clean it up together.
Looking over her, it's hard to not at least smirk. You ever see a teenager fall off a skateboard and eat dirt? It's kind of like that.
Look at you. You're filthy. How do you even get mud in some of these places?
I fell off a skateboard once. The first and last time I ever tried to skateboard. We were going down a hill and I tried to jump off. Like, I got off with one foot and the other one, like, I was not used to it. I was too fast. I tried to get off, but I could only get off with the one foot and the other one was still on the skateboard. So what I ended up doing is, I managed to just kind of drag the one foot that was off the skateboard behind it. I was not wearing shoes. Do not go on a skateboard without shoes. So what I ended up doing was just rip open a bunch of skin on that one foot. It's interesting how you can see your own bones. I would not recommend it. I will also never set a singular foot on a skateboard anytime in my life again. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It sure wasn't. It sure wasn't. It was at a friend's birthday party. And the parents were like, yeah, you guys are old enough. This is fine. Like, please keep in mind we were, what, 13? The parents were like, yeah, it's okay. The big brother is there and we're just gonna go out to buy some more stuff because it was a big sleepover. So literally no one else was home aside from the teenage older brother, who obviously did not want to deal with 12 other teenagers, younger teenagers. And then we come home. And yeah, you know, my foot is covered in blood, and he's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And I'm like, yeah, well, you know, The next day, my foot had swollen to like twice the size, basically. But it all went well. I never actually went to see a doctor about it. I just waited for it to like go away on its own, which is crazy to me that actually worked. I don't think that's a recommended practice here. You should go get that checked out. But it was during summer break, so yeah. Anyway, that's how I managed to see my own bone in my foot. That was fascinating. To this day, I still haven't actually broken a bone though, so that's cool, right? It is a little sad how many typos there are, but I think they're very much actively compiling them and then fixing them. And when they put out like a bigger patch, they will be fixed, I think. I dab my finger on my tongue and wipe some of the grime off a volcano. The bride groans and pouts about it, but by the time I'm done, I can see my reflection.
Same goes for you, Zion. What on earth did you get up to? You look like a derelict.
For as much grief as I give Yellowstone for her butchering of the English language, at least she's not trying to bring it back to the 19th century like Yosemite.
Well, we were out picking mushrooms.
Mushrooms!
And you avoided the poisonous ones, right?
Yosemite squats down, wringing water out of her hair and onto her jacket. As if polishing a plate or a car, she wipes the smudges of Zion's face and makes an attempt to get some of the mud crusted to her hair.
Mm-hmm. Yellowstone almost ate one, but then I told her what you told me. That ego death stuff gives me the heebie-jeebies.
The heebie-jeebies. I don't like mushrooms.
Just what exactly is in the mushrooms of Yosemite National Park?
But afterwards, we decided that plain old mushrooms just weren't enough. So we decided to make mud pies.
Meow, meow, meow. Oi. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow.
Oh no.
It was very exciting.
Yosemite's eyes are smithery and the daggers are being sharpened as she looks to Yellowstone.
And you let this happen?
Sure did. We even used my head as an oven so the pies would get nice and warm.
I chop Yellowstone's volcano to shut her up. The ridges scrape my hand.
You already dug your grave, don't give the eulogy too.
Yosemite's eye has been delayed. For now. She sighs and returns her focus to Zion.
Honestly, Zion, it's perfectly okay if you want to play, but does it have to be so dirty? It's unsightly.
Unsightly? Please. Since when did you become Victorian?
I snored. This girl has the weirdest hang-ups.
I'm not happy with it either, but she's just a kid. Let her have her fun.
That's the point, though, isn't it? She should not be just a kid.
Don't call her that.
Yosemite snaps at me like a cornered dog. Both me and Yellowstone flinch. But when she looks back at Zion, all is well. She gives her a smile, brushing her fingers through Zion's hair.
Ignore her. You're a beautiful and proper young lady. Like you've always been. Just be sure to act like it, okay?
Yosemite's smile looks like it's starting to strain, forming dimples I've never seen before. Yellowstone looks away, frowning as she bends down to pick up the broom. Poor Zion can only silently beg me for help. Sorry, kid, but I don't think Yosemite is going to let me win this one. Finally, she settles on Yosemite and tries to force her own smile. The desperation for this moment to end is practically carved into her eyes.
Okay. I'll try to be more careful and not get dirty when playing from now on.
She pats Zion on the head and stands up, massaging the bridge of her nose like she was just struck with a migraine.
Sweetie.
Zion snaps to attention.
Be a dear and dust off the top of the bookshelf for me, please. It's the easiest for you to reach.
Because she can fly. Is that Anua? That is, in fact, Anua. That is me.
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Yes, of course. I'll get right on that.
Because I live in a nightmare, Zion plucks a feather from one of her wings, then flies up to the top of the bookshelf to use it as a duster. Yosemite lumbers over to the sink, returning to the dishes, and leaving me and Yellowstone alone in the middle of the cabin. I lean in and whisper as she uses the broom to swat at the dust under the couch.
Why do I feel like I just witnessed something kind of gross?
She whispers back.
'Cause Yosemite's got it bad.
Has what?
Yosemite faints a cough from across the room.
I'll see to my own as I deem fit, Ranger. Now get to cleaning before the better version of you arrives.
She's not wrong about the last bit, but I resent that first half. I've been here long enough to at least have some say in how exactly we play house.
Mama Bear Syndrome. Oh, Mama Bear Syndrome, yeah. You did pop by and share some good vibes. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing some good vibes. I do not know why I'm suddenly being all leggy, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Get some good rest if you're about to head to bed.
Yellowstone finishes her secret and slides off with the broom. It's none of my business. I won't make it my business. But if I were to make it my business, which I'm not, there would be an uneasy tickle crawling down my neck. Who knows though? Wouldn't be the first time a hunch ended up being a common cold. We all get to business and go about cleaning our cabin. Much to my endless relief, getting the mud out isn't as hard as I thought it would be. That's hardwood for you. Floor as God intended it. Knock knock. As sure as the sun will swallow the earth, Jessie arrives right on time. 3 knocks clatter at the front door.
Knock, knock. But you knocked 3 times.
We all freeze. 3 sets of eyes look to me.
Crap, it's Jessie!
We can see that.
Technically, we can hear it. If her perfume is as strong as last time, we might be able to smell it, too.
Don't be rude! We really need to have a talk with Yellowstone soon.
Sorry for being a minute late. Ernie locked the keys in the truck and it was just a whole big thing.
She grunts and I hear the porch creak.
Could you come open the door for me? I'm carrying a lot of stuff and it's actually
Another grunt.
a little heavy.
Oh boy.
Hi, Spooky. Good evening. I'm okay. How are you?
The muffled voice sounds pathetic on the other side of the door. Sorry, Jessie, you'll have to wait a bit longer.
Sorry, I'm naked?
You're a terrible liar.
And you're just terrible. Now, go disappear or whatever it is you things do.
The 3 girls come together to lock hands. Sam grabs a fine strand of her muddy hair and whines.
We're still so dirty. Let's just splash around in the river and wash it all off.
I don't think so. You'll be using the campground showers like respectable.
Phew! All 3 of them vanish right in the middle of Yosemite's lecturing. Like a soft wind rushes through my hair. Silence has never been so therapeutic. I hate my life. It's for tea since you're not going to be drinking before you go to bed. That's good. Tea is good. I actually had a tea today as well. I drank some tea during work today. You had a long day, but you got to wind down now. That's good. Get some rest, unwind, enjoy. Sit down.
Steve, please. Gravity is kicking my butt.
I mean, Jessie, you could also just, you know, put it on the ground. Put the stuff on the ground. We can pick it up again.
Coming!
I spin over to the door and open it for her. Just in time too, because Jessie looks like she's about to be crushed by the weight of all the grocery bags she's holding. I will be taking my time. If you're here for actually, you know, passable English, it's a wrong place. 2. She's vibrating. She's like,
Hi, Eve.
Hi. I think her muscles might collapse. The things I make this poor woman endure. The only comfort I can give her is a pitiable smile. I take half of the bags and balance them in my arms as I wobble to the table.
You're an angel.
What?
That's a first.
We drop all the bags on the table and catch our breaths. Produce and snacks slide out and spread across it.
Whew. My eyes just about bulged out of my head when you faxed me your grocery list. You must be a hungry gal.
I'm bulking.
And by bulking, I mean running my ass off so Yellowstone's cooking doesn't lead to the growth of sad ass. Seriously, she has so many dishes she wants to try out, I can't keep up.
Well, whatever you're doing, I'm just glad it's making you happy.
She flops down in a chair Yosemite usually sits in and takes off her hat so she can fan herself with it.
Oh, wasn't aware I gave off the impression of someone who was happy.
I slump down in my chair and rest my chin on the table.
Not on the outside. We haven't gotten that far yet. But I have reason to believe that on the inside, your heart is at least half full.
Oh.
Quit with the poetry and spill the dirt you have on me.
My muscles tense up. She couldn't possibly know anything about the girls, could she? And she slips a stack of folded papers out of her breast pocket.
This right here,
She slices it through the air.
it's a stack of complaints.
Ooh.
Campers couldn't take the heat, huh?
These are all from the rangers who work the station across the clearing.
Excuse me? Huh, what a surprise.
Oh, are the hacks upset because they can't do their jobs right?
I put on my best baby voice and honestly I think it's hilarious, but Jessie must think otherwise because she just gives me a flat glare.
Let's read a couple, shall we?
Oh boy.
Ugh.
Yeah, hit me. Rolling my eyes, I rip open one of the bags of teriyaki jerky Jessie brought. She gives a distinguished cough as she unfolds the papers and begins reading.
Ranger Adams is highly competent at her job.
Oh.
More than them, at least.
I answer with half-chewed jerky still in my mouth.
However, her confrontational demeanor and rigid personality often puts her at odds with the other rangers.
Rigid? That's a new one.
Jessie scoffs as she moves on to the next file.
On various occasions, Ranger Adams has insisted that I am incapable of properly doing my job, and in one such instance, applied a threat of bodily harm against me by making a strangling motion when she believed my back to be turned.
Okay, that skid mark is a trust fund baby. He's only here because his old man rubbed elbows with the last secretary up in Washington.
Okay.
This one is my favorite.
She reads out the next one in a stack.
Despite only working Mondays through Fridays, Ranger Adams routinely comes into the station on weekends to file paperwork that is not her own and investigate office supplies to make sure they are, and I quote, up to regulation standard.
They were printing out fire permits on yellow paper, Jessie. Yellow paper. I know things are always tight around here, but I couldn't just let them do that.
She takes off her hat and fans herself with it, strands of her hair blowing past her smug face. Instead of saying anything, she just smiles.
So what? You here to scold me then?
I'm sorry, I don't see what the problem is with the yellow paper, but I think it's very funny that she would actually go into someone else's office. Just someone's office that's not her station, to just be like, are you guys using the correct paper over here? Like, okay, girl.
At first. But you know those rate how we're doing sheets?
The ones that no one ever fills out?
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Oh. From her breast pocket, she takes out a stack of paper. This one is way thicker, though, like a deck of cards. She slides it over to me.
Pissed off that many people, huh?
Give yourself more credit. These are all compliments.
What?
What? That can't be right.
She's teasing me. That has to be it. I spider crawl my fingers to the paper, but stop just shy of grabbing it to read. No one actually has the willpower to tolerate me finger-wagging them for more than 5 minutes. Maybe here or there, but only on the rare occasion when they're actually interested, or if they're pretending to be polite. But I have to. It's my job to nag them into safety, so that maybe they take care of themselves and a plan around them. Maybe.
Every single one of these praises you by either name or description. There's a few bits here and there about scaring small children, but generally speaking, they love you.
She clasps her hands together and rests her chin on the back of them. The look on her face isn't smug anymore. It's scarier. It's that genuine glint of warmth in her eyes. It's pride. It makes me uncomfortable. Not because of crushing duty of obligation or anything. Nothing like that. Because if what's written on these sheets is real, then that would imply that the Eve who's here now is, well, different than the one who was exiled to this cabin.
What they love is a ranger in a big hat who can do the whole shtick and gimmick with them. I'm a walk-around character in a theme park.
I slide the papers back to her, but she pushes them right on back.
What you are is someone people can rely on and learn from. Encapsulating ideals doesn't make you a fraud, Eve. You don't pick fights for no reason. You're honest. That's something people respond to. And there's not a soul alive who doesn't have an opinion on honesty. That's why I love these. Even the complaints. They tell me that you're showing the rest of the world what I already know about you.
Oh no, happiness! No. She can't accept that maybe... She has a hard time accepting that there's people out there who she's genuinely helping. Because she's always like tough about it, but like, okay. That's something I don't think I'm ready to believe.
I think you put too much stock in everyone.
And I don't think you put in enough. Try having faith in your fellow man for once.
She can generalize it as that, but I don't think it's my fellow man I'm not ready to have faith in. Looking down at the stack of papers like looking down at the Bible. Thick, daunting, and tells me more about myself than I would like to know.
I'll let you keep those.
Jessie shoots me a smirk that turns into a grimace. Her hand springs for her back as she lets out a pained grunt. I wince as she tries to soothe the pain. She makes the discomfort vivid enough for me to feel through osmosis.
How's that back of yours doing?
So... kind of you... to ask.
Oh, do we know how old Jessie is? I know it's not mentioned in the game. We had that conversation before. But like... They did reveal how old everyone is supposed to be, right? All she can do is groan. Her entire upper body looks as stiff as a plank.
Let's get you over to the couch.
You don't know? Ah! I move to get out of my chair, but she waves her hand at me to stay away.
Let it happen! Let it happen!
The whole dramatic command somehow makes it way through her teeth. I swear, sometimes she's just as stubborn as me. After a few more moments of her gritting her teeth and willing her way through the worst of it, she collapses in a chair and catches her breath.
You're going to overwork your way back into the wheelchair, you know?
Thank you. You have a wonderful time as well. Her age range. Okay.
I see my doctor has gotten to you too, huh?
Also, what do you mean, back into the wheelchair? Was she in a wheelchair already before?
Doesn't take a PhD to give common sense. Seriously, just take this surgery, Jessie.
And be out for a month? I don't think so. What would everyone do without me?
Well, see, they could either go and do their job without you for a month, or at some point you're just gonna completely collapse and will be unable to work, and then they're gonna be fucked over forever. And also, you and your own body should take priority over any given job at any given time. Just saying.
We'd manage.
What, the gift shop?
It doesn't even take a second for her to correct the record.
I'm sorry, that was really mean. I love you all. You all do such wonderful work.
Look at you. You can't even claim a small victory without stressing out over it.
She whines like a teenager.
I know. I blame all this paperwork. It's a lot of sitting down at desks, and my back just never took to it after the promotion. I'm filing more reports now than I ever did working patrol down in Santa Monica.
Now that I believe. This woman's existence, well, that I find a bit harder to take. After getting crippled into an early retirement, she trains her way out of borderline paralysis, then takes a job at the Park Service. She's nuts. Certifiable, even. What? Girl! I mean, good for you, but like, what the fuck?
Just try taking it a little easier. You're not getting any younger.
Hey! What's that supposed to mean? My 30s aren't sunsetting just yet.
Okay, what? She's in the middle of her 30s then?
Of course not.
Oh?
It's more like golden hour. Yeah.
Her back must be feeling a hell of a lot better because now she's clasping her chest, wounded by the truth.
Oof. Even your platitudes are cutting.
I thought you liked my honesty.
Not when I'm on the other end of it.
Aww. Jessie pouts to herself then sighs. She whispers something I'm pretty sure she wants me to hear anyway.
Work in progress, Jessie. Work in progress.
No, 30s isn't old. She holds her head and slips it back on, then cautiously rises up from the chair.
What? You're leaving already? You just got here.
Just because it's your day off doesn't mean it's mine. I can't stay here and chit-chat forever.
Stretching, she lifts her arms over her head and lets all the slip discs and nerves crack back into place. She gives me a chirp, a little smile.
Unless you say please.
Please don't ever do that again.
I slide out of my chair, walk over, grab her shoulders, then shove her towards the door.
Yeah. Please leave.
She chuckles as I escort her. Honestly, I'm sad to see her go so soon. Jessie might be the only person in this entire park that I haven't pushed away through the years, even as I'm physically pushing her away from me. She actually cares about me, God knows why.
Oh, before I forget, what's on your agenda today?
Cleaning. We stop at the door. A strong wind blows into the cabin. I look off into the distance and instead of morning birds fluttering through a blue sky, I see a stroke of dark grey forming on the horizon.
Looks like it's fixing to rain, so I guess I'll go see if anyone needs help keeping the water out of their tents. Maybe drop by the station and make sure nothing is leaking.
The background looks so pretty. Nope. Nope. The jesters over there probably would sooner let it flood than think to put a bucket underneath a leak. Oh, this edition. I'm so yeah. Okay, I sorry. Like, I'm not good with acronyms. I'm always just like, what are we? What are the full words? Yeah, I would know about what it was originally like, though. I've never played the version before this one.
Yeah, don't do that. They think I dropped by to chew you out. Take it easy on them for a few days, and if they ask, just say I made you cry.
Ah.
There goes my agenda.
Wait. Wait. Oh yeah! The art book I can also get here? Yeah, absolutely.
For Pete's sake, Eve! It's your day off. Get some hobbies.
Get some hobbies.
Okay, damn! I'll read a book! Whatever. I sense silence as she marches over to the truck.
I have hobbies.
Jessie snorts. I have hobbies! She climbs into the cab and starts the ignition. Leaning out the door, she shouts over the engine.
Coffee doesn't count. Go read that book you ordered. Should be with the groceries.
Book?
When did I order a book? All her facts towards my grocery list.
Ta-ta for now. I'll radio you later.
Does girl kissing count as a hobby? Make that my job the way I'll be clocking in on that. What? Ow. Owie. Jessie twinkles her fingers out the window and salutes me a goodbye. As I watch her drive out of the clearing, I just feel more confused. She said plenty of confusing things this morning, the biggest being that crap about me being someone people can rely on. But it still doesn't explain what book she was talking about. The truck coughs and wheezes down the clearing and onto the dirt road. Climbs over the bend in the horizon. When it's out of sight, I step back into the cabin. My gaze shifts over to the table, and in my head I sift through the groceries. It's vague, but I can make out the rectangular shape of a book pressing against one of the bags. Weird. Really weird. In what's been a rarity since the day I was first stationed here, the cabin is silent. Even if the girls are just in another room, it's the first time in a while I don't have curious or prying eyes on me. The whole space feels dead and empty. Maybe a while back I would have liked it, but now it just feels unnerving. I go to the table and unpack an entire produce aisle from the bag, and sure enough, a paperback is waiting for me near the bottom. So new and unread, the cover still has a gleam to it. Did Jessie need some hobbies considering she's working herself to death? True. No. I mean, there has to be a bathroom, for sure, to the cabin, so... Right? The Proust effect, the senses as doorways to lost memories. I pick it up and flip it over. It doesn't take more than reading the first sentence in the summary to know that this is a Yosemite purchase. Of course it is. Who else but her? All she reads is pseudoscience and history, and then she tries to mix the two until they form the theory salad. Still, Yosemite isn't someone who wastes her time without a reason. There's always a logic to it, as warped as it might end up being. So it makes me wonder, what kind of mind labyrinth is she exploring right now? And to put a finer point on it, why did she mention it? Then up to the bathroom turns as the door squeaks. See, there's a bathroom! I dropped the book so fast it may as well be my college philosophy class.
Rub-a-dub-dub! Thanks for the scrub.
Hey, you have different clothes on.
She's paid extra. No job in the world will ever thank you for working yourself to death. It's simply not worth it, ever. An euphemism for the wilderness. With a door to it?
I only understood half of that, but you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Yosemite. Sorry for getting messy.
You're very welcome, sweetie. Just be more careful next time.
The three pal girls prance out of the bathroom, not a single speck of mud to be found in Yellowstone or Zion. Instead of the outfits I've gotten used to seeing them wear, they're both wearing matching oversized t-shirts. I love Zion National Park shirt for Yellowstone, and I love Yellowstone National Park shirt for Zion. It's so disgustingly adorable, my body has a physical reaction to it. Like my heart is melting or something. I hate it, but I kind of love it. Yosemite seems to be having a similar reaction, except her gushing is focused more or less on Zion, which she watches with this dopey smile, until her eyes meet, and she just frowns.
What's wrong with you? Just see a ghost?
I'm still hovering over the table like a weirdo with the book now laying lopsided on the table. Totally not suspicious, Eve. Your snooping is both subtle and inconspicuous. To be fair, you're the one who's paying for the book. I feel like the least you should be allowed is to know that there was a book purchase on it. Yeah. I think that's fair. Clearing my throat, I slink away from the scene of my crime. Hopefully it doesn't look as suspicious as I feel.
Sure did. 4 of them, in fact. Every day.
I'm going to avoid this conversation, should just roll with this, okay? Yosemite eyes me, both of us taking mirrored steps to our new positions. Me to the couch, her to the table.
Oh. Who's the 4th?
Why? What are you hiding, Ranger? I shoot up her thing again and click my tongue like a smooth criminal. I know I absolutely am not.
The one I see in the mirror.
Oh! She's dead inside, only nature's her friend. Aww. Doesn't matter, just let the conversation die, you entitled shrub. Her brow furrows. She stares down at the table for a long time, squinting as she focuses in on something. It has to be the book. She's too savvy for her own good. She knows I saw it, and now I'm going to get a lecture for not minding my own business, despite her not telling me she was ordering it to begin with.
Your self-deprecation is boring. I'm starting to think it's the only gimmick you have.
It's cute that you think you can hide things from me. Be sure your sins will find you out, because if they don't, I will. Oh god, here it comes.
What are these?
She picks up the folded stack of visitor surveys Jessie left here. Visitor surveys Jessie left and waves them through the air. An audible groan slips out of me. Somehow, this is even worse than if she figured out I saw the book.
Visitor surveys. Jessie thought they were important enough for me to see.
And I suppose you're ecstatic for the new fireplace kindling.
Not today. Everything in that stack involves yours truly.
What did you do this time?
A good job, apparently.
I scoff while saying it because, if I'm being honest, I still don't buy it. Maybe we just got a weird batch of visitors, or maybe those surveys are so layered with sarcasm it flew over Jessie's head. She's nice enough for that to happen. Whatever it is, it's not me. Yosemite scrambles to unfold the surveys. Her eyes scan across the paper, going from side to side as she reads from top to bottom. When she's done, her ears twitch and perk up.
Eve. This is... positive. Glowing, even.
I'll take your word for it.
Once I've had time to digest everything, I'll start going through all of them, but right now, the idea of reading them reminds me of hearing my voice come out of a phone or video. It forces a specific kind of objectivity I'm not ready for. But Yosemite is ready for it. She laps that stuff up, flipping from page to page, devouring each one faster than I'm convinced she can actually read. She stops on one. A warm smile, untainted by her ego-usual sarcasm, spreads across her face. A flushed red crosses her cheeks and her pebble-like freckles glitter beneath the red. It reminds me of a vivid sunset. Girl! That is a crazy description, by the way. It's lovely. It's a very lovely description, but also... Oh! Her smile, her warm smile reminds you of a vivid sunset. Jesus Christ! Hello?
I'm keeping this one.
Those are official files that are technically property of the federal government.
And now this one is an official document from my records. Ha ha
Ha. Yosemite's head bobs to a fake laugh. She rolls some on paper into a tube and slides it into her jacket. The rest she puts back down onto the table. This entire time, Zion has been eyeing the groceries and pursing her lips as if she's been waiting for us to finish our conversation. Such a considerate little cherub.
Yellowstone, did you see? Miss Eve's mom brought groceries.
She's not my mom! My what?
I sure did. It's a freight load of it, too. Now I can whip up all those vegetarian recipes you wanted me to try. Thanks, Mama Eve.
What?
Thanks, Eve's mom.
Let me stop you there. Jessie is my boss, not my mom. What kind of mental gymnastics did you do to get that idea?
The idea that she looks old enough to be my mom would cause what's left of Jess's ego to crumble into dust if she heard this.
Oops, that's my bad.
Zion gives an apologetic bow.
She's so kind and gentle with you. I just assumed.
Like a drunk kicking open the church's door mid-sermon, Yellowstone barges back into the conversation.
Yeah, plus you talk to her like a cranky teenager.
Thank you, Yellowstone.
And she's taller than ya.
Height has nothing to do with age. She could be more.
Thank you, Yellowstone.
And you wear the same clothes.
That's because this is a uniform and we're at my job.
'Cause it's our uniform. What planet do you live on?
Earth. Meanwhile, Yosemite's doing a terrible job of trying to hide her amusement. Her puffed out cheeks, the only things keeping her cackling at bay.
Perhaps she's the better version of you after all.
I collapse on the couch, tossing my arm over my eyes as a makeshift sleep mat. Make me up when this tangent is over.
And the better version of you is the one on postcards. Now shove it.
For a brief, wondrous moment, all is quiet. Then I feel a weight press down on one of the couch cushions. I cover my eyes and get a view of one of the lesser-known sights in this park. Yosemite's back. She sits on the edge of the couch, close enough for me to catch the smell of lemongrass and pine needles that always accompany her, but far enough for me not kick her off for invading my personal space. She can stay. For now.
So now that your little get-together with Jessie has been adjourned, how do you plan on wasting the rest of your day off?
It's only a waste if I spend it with you.
Is that your answer then?
I give the best shrug I can while lounging on the couch.
Boss lady told me not to piss off the bums at the station, so my plans for the day are dead. Might still go down to the camp and help people prep for the rain, though.
Maybe do some journaling inside Teddy. Agonize over whether or not I want to read those surveys. After all, they aren't technically real until I read them.
Actually...
Yellowstone pokes her head over the back of the couch, trusting her volcano between me and Yosemite.
As much as I admire you not having any hobbies, because you're such a stickler for your work and all, I think there was something Zion wanted to bring up with you gals.
Why is everyone so stuck on this today? I have hobbies, lots of them. You at least need an entire hand to list them all off. Ooh! Yellowstone waves over Zion.
Don't be shy, cutie. We're gonna go gaga for the idea.
Yosemite and I pass unsure glances at each other. Pretty sure the last time I went gaga over something was when I was an infant. Twiddling her thumbs and staring at her feet, Zion floats to the front of us as if being forced to introduce herself to the rest of the class.
I didn't want to bring it up in case Miss Eve had any plans, but if it's okay, I'd like to make a suggestion.
Go ahead and say what you need to.
Yosemite's tone is light, airy, and oozing with adoration. She treats Zion with kid gloves while the rest of us get the boxing gloves instead.
Well, you've been living with us for some time now, Miss Eve. And while it was an adjustment, it's also been very wonderful. Things are much more lively now.
Well, I appreciate the sentiment, I think. Why does it feel like she's about to say, but it's just not working out?
Unfortunately, it's not often that the four of us get to spend time together. What with you and your work, Yosemite and her research, Yellowstone spreading chill vibes. Yes, and Yellowstone spreading her message of chill vibes.
Dark issue.
We all spend time together, but we don't spend time together.
Mm-hmm.
It can get rather lonesome. Preach it, sister!
Yellowstone gives a sagely nod, but I'm not sure if I buy the illusion.
So, if it's not an issue, perhaps we can all spend today, well, together.
Over the course of her pitch, Zion's face has been getting progressively pinker, the monumental task of addressing as all at once too much for a timid soul to bear. A stark contrast to the righteously furious angel that delivered a hellish tongue-lashing upon Yosemite not too long ago. But between all the shudders, gulps, and pauses, she still managed to spit the whole thing out. It's enough to make me at least humor the suggestion.
Did you have anything in mind?
Actually, there was...
How about a picnic?
Yosemite cuts Zion off and does it with a smile on her face.
Ooh, I'm always down for a good old-fashioned picnic. We can have macaroni salad, P&P sandwiches.
Wait, what's a P&P sandwich? Pork and pork sandwich?
PB and P?
Peanut butter and pickles, you goofball.
Picnic is fine, but I veto whatever that is.
I tried peanut butter once in my life, and I thought it was disgusting.
Peanut butter and pickles. Also, hi Zen, how are you?
You made someone get... No. Peanut butter and no. Ew. I like pickles. I do like pickles on a burger. I do like pickles, but no. Peanut butter and ugh. Good afternoon. Peanut butter would just straight up kill you. Oh. You have a nut allergy? Not the peanut butter slender. I'm sorry. I tried it. Because I do like to live by the idea of, okay, don't say you don't like it before having tried it. But no, it's not to my taste at all. But it's, you know, more for everyone else who likes it. So I'm all for sharing. Before Yellowstone can whine about it, Zion wriggles back into the discussion that she sparked.
Isn't it going to rain, though? I was thinking we could do something inside. Board games, charades. That might be nice.
Well, stand up, it's just a text. You're not saying it's bad. Yeah, exactly. Say, thank you. Thank you. It's like, I personally don't like it, but if you like it, go for it. Zion trails off until her suggestions are quiet whispers. It must have been persuasive enough for Yellowstone, though, as she leaps to the rescue and lifts Zion back up.
You got a point. There was a storm brewing out there earlier. Let's just put that idea on ice for now and kick back here instead.
Nonsense. Zion loves picnics.
You love Reese's too, can I? Oh, I've never... I think they sell Reese's here in Germany nowadays, actually. I think I've seen it in stores before. But, like, the entire concept of it just does not appeal to me at all. As certain as she sounds for insisting on what someone else likes, the moment she says it, the look on her face is anything but. Her lips purse into a deep frown. She stares at Zion, and for all her pride and snobbery, Yosemite actually looks pathetic. Like a scared child looking to an adult for comfort.
You do, don't you?
Enjoying American chocolate? I'll stick to German and Swiss chocolate, actually. I'm sorry. I do like the chocolate we have here. Because it's objectively very good chocolate. Zion stares up at her and they lock eyes. Any hesitation she had about picnics or rain melts away into a bright grin.
You're right. I love them.
My favorite chocolate? you know, I do like just a basic milk chocolate from Milka, for example. I do also like the Rittersport, the ones where it's like milk chocolate and the cookies in them. I feel like cookie is the wrong word. But specifically those two, I think. But like overall, I'm surprisingly enough, as much as I like sweets, I'm not actually too big on chocolate itself. Like I can eat a few pieces and then it'll be enough for like a month. I'm not too big on chocolate overall. Reese's Puffs, Reese's Puffs. Eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up. Reese's Puffs. An Oreo Milka bar. Surprisingly enough, I'm not a big Oreo fan. Actually. Like, they're okay sometimes, but they always leave a bad aftertaste in my mouth. The one with yogurt? Oh, yeah. What I do not like at all is yogurette. Bleh. I feel like I had a really bad batch one time that was just open for too long, and it tasted so bad. I've never tried to eat yogurette again. Like, bleh. It's always hit or miss. Anything that has like strawberry taste to it, it's always a hit or miss. You have an Oreo box collection? I mean, sure, yeah, why not? Using her wings to propel her forward, Zion flutters into Yosemité's arms, and the two of them tightly embrace. Yosemite closes her eyes and smiles, soaking in the moment of affection. Zion's eyes are wide open and far away. She's not smiling. I don't know about this. There's something off about this dynamic, but I'm not sure I'm able to grasp what it is. I hated the Oreo Coca-Cola. I tried it. I did try it. I still have the second can of the Oreo Coca-Cola in the fridge, actually. Because just thinking about it and remembering the taste of the first one, like, I still have it standing in the fridge. I will never drink it. It's disgusting. It was disgusting. I do not know who came up with that taste. I don't even know how to describe it, but I felt violated. They use sugarcane instead of I couldn't tell you. But I still have that standing in the fridge. I think I should get rid of that. I should get rid of that finally. Anything about Coca-Cola? True. Very true. I also tried the K-pop Coca-Cola. I don't know how to describe that taste either, except disgusting. I don't know why or what they thought that they made there, but it was a concoction made by the devil, I think. Good thing is I didn't pay anything for it because it was like given as an extra, like with something else I bought, and I was like, okay, I mean, I might as well try it, but ooh, ugh. I do not know what that is, so I couldn't tell you if I like it. I look at Yellowstone, hoping for some silent elaboration, but she just clicks her tongue and starts walking towards the kitchen. Maybe she's right about it just being an intense case of Mama Bear syndrome. Who am I to say how park girls interact?
So what about the weather, genius? Or are you just craving soggy sandwiches?
Linear thinking. You're so good at it. We aren't limited to just eating within this park. There are other options. And I know just the place.
Milk caramel. Ah. I like it enough. I don't think I've had it often enough. Like, it's not something we buy usually. Oh. Oh, but that sounds good. Yeah, that does sound good. I should try and get those milk caramels again, actually. I haven't had them in years, I think. But now you remind me. I do like me a good what do you actually call them? Like bonbons. Bonbons of any kind that you suck on and then they slowly dissolve in your mouth. those kind of things, yeah, I do like those. I mean, to be fair, my overall favorite sweet that I could eat all the time are sour gummy worms. There was a time I was almost addicted to them because we had some kind of weird thingy set up where they deliver them like in set intervals, so I would go through like a kilogram of those in too little a time, because I knew that the next one would just be delivered sometime soonish, and I'm like, oh, okay, yay. Do not. It's not good. It's not a very good diet to have. Brownie muffins, oh no! I had a spectacular vegan chocolate cake last week, actually, with strawberries. I think there's still some left over at my friend's house, and I keep forgetting to like bring a proper box so I could take some home with me. And now it's been a week, and I'm like, either she's finally eaten it all herself, or I don't know how long a cake like that actually keeps, even if you have it in the fridge the entire time. And I'm so sad because now I'm craving it. We need to no. You know what? Let's stop talking about sweets and get to talking about the picnic. Do I have the recipe? I do not, because I was not the one who made it, but I will ask. I will ask her and then I will write it to you if I get it, because it was crazy good. Wait, hold on. Let me write that down. Let me write it down so I don't forget. Okay. And now I will not forget. Listening to ships to hero. I do love me some good cake. Sarah looks up at her, most of her face buried in Yosemite's jacket.
You do?
Oh, yes. In fact, it's your favorite place.
With a stretch and a yawn, I pop myself off the couch.
Guess that means it's time for another field trip.
My thinking may be linear, but if those paintings on the walls have been anything to go by, it sounds like the four of us will be piling into Zion National Park. I can act like a grandpa all I want, but Zion National Park has been on my bucket list for a while. Maybe if I'm lucky, they'll take me to the Weeping Rock Trail. I really want to hike under the mountain's overhang. The best part of hikes like that is when you get sprinkled by the waterfalls. It's so refreshing and you feel so rejuvenated after.
Excited?
I freeze, only now realizing I'm grinning. It's a normal human reaction, but Yosemite has a way of making it feel like losing.
A little.
It's embarrassing, but there's some parts of me I just can't deny, like how I had a banana phone until I left for college. I'm always going to be an earthy nature freak deep down.
I better get cooking then. It's still bright and early outside, but it's almost high noon in Utah. We don't want to end up sharing our picnic with the crickets.
Wait.
Yellowstone is in the middle of tying an apron around her.
I'll fix the food this time.
Oh! What's happening here? Jesse's 36 during MPG's 40. Okay, so I was a little off. I would have said 38 from the conversation earlier, but okay. At first, Yellowstone beams, because if there's one thing she loves more than helping, it's being offered help. But as soon as lightning flashes through the sky, that morphs into a grimace.
Golly, I sure do appreciate the offer, Yosemite, but it's all fine and dandy. I can whip all this up lickety-split.
It's now evening somewhere in the world. Yosemite releases a sound from her eternal hug and makes her way to the stove, snatching the apron right off Yellowstone's back.
It's not fine and it's not dandy. You wanted more help around here anyway, so here it is. Besides, I know Zion's favorite food.
Just like that, Yosemite begins bringing groceries from the table to the counter. Yellowstone looks on in quiet horror, unable to stand up to the tyrant. Biting her thumb, she mumbles to herself.
Okie dokie, this is all fine. It's all gonna turn out swell. Just trust Yosemite.
I assume Yosemite is not going to be a good cook. I lean in and whisper to Yellowstone. The two of us are quickly becoming the keeper of all secrets within his cabin.
Be straight with me. Should I be scared of Yosemite's cooking?
Yes, you should be. We all should be.
Uh-oh. As we resign ourselves to whatever fate Yosemite cooks up, Zion walks past us and stops at the paintings. She stares up at hers, focusing on it as if she were looking for something deep into the valley painted on the canvas. And for a long time, she stays like that. I was about to say, be straight. After what feels like an eternity of listening to genres of elevator music I didn't even know existed, the line finally starts to ring. First once, then twice. On the third ring, some lady on the other end answers. My foot aches from all the impatient tapping.
Yeah, I'd like to check my balance. Checkings.
There's a long pause. When she speaks, there's a bunch of nonsense words that I don't care about.
No, I don't want the app.
More words.
I don't want the credit card either. Just tell me if there's been any suspicious charges.
She sighs. I sigh. What a pain in the ass. I give her my account number. My eyes start to glaze over as I wait for her to bring up the info. Over by the counter, Yellowstone squirms and gasps as Yosemite crams what I think are sandwiches into the picnic basket. She forces the lid shut, a murky rainbow of fruits and veggies spilling over the top. Zion is laying on my bed, staring at the ceiling. Pup is there too, curled up and resting his snout on her. I didn't give either of them permission to be on there, but you know what? I'll let her have it this once, just because I feel bad that Yosemite is going all dance recital mom on her. The lady on the phone speaks up and starts listing off all my recent transactions, magazine subscriptions, Sierra Club, and ASPCA donations, some bad graffiti artist medical bills, the usual. But then, one unusual purchase. Nothing expensive, nothing grand, just an $8 charge to an online bookseller. I sneak another peek at Yosemite. She starts to hum to herself as she folds the picnic blanket into an uneven rectangle, smiling in such an uncharacteristic joyful way that the skin on my back crawls. Okay, got it.
Alright, that's all I need to know. Thanks.
I mean, $8 for a book, that's okay. Before I can end the call, she stops me. What is it now? She asked a question, and if I could, I'd reach her the phone and swat her over the head.
Yes, I know what a smartphone is.
I hang up and toss my BlackBerry on the couch. It is a BlackBerry! Ha! I know. No one else cares about this. But you know, when we saw her on her phone on that one CG, I was like, is that? And we started talking about it. It is a BlackBerry. Hell yeah. I'm proud of myself for that now. Can a person check in with a credit union without any hassles?
God!
Good old Blackberry.
At least I know one thing for certain now. Yosemite definitely used my card to buy that book, and she probably used my phone to do it.
If you're so dead set on living an archaic existence, you may as well resort to the barter system. Really stick it to them.
It's in the spoilers channel. Oh yeah, I'm always scared about looking into a spoilers channel for stuff when I haven't played it myself yet, or not completely played. You know, even if everything is properly tagged or whatever, I'm always like, no, I will only check after I've also finished the game. But I will check on it. I love seeing people's like live talking about stuff. Not even streaming, but just like, oh, I'm playing this game and here's a screenshot and here's a funny thing that happened. I do the same as well. For games that I don't actually stream, I do that as well to friends. And they're like, okay, I have no idea what you're playing. And I'm just like, yeah, that's fine. I do the same with books, actually. Books I read and it's like, okay, you have no idea what the fuck is happening over these 1,000 pages, but here I am giving you a little excerpt. And you're like, okay. It makes you happy? Yeah! More lore is always fun. Love me some extra lore.
You try operating in modern society. I bet you go nuts after forgetting your 5th password.
The fight drains from her eyes. She glances over at Zion, who's now sitting on the edge of the bed, waiting to go.
You're probably right.
And it's because of weird moments like that I'm not going to chew out about it yet. There's something going on here. The unsure glances and sad smiles make it as obvious as a slap to the face. So I'm just going to observe for a bit, wait and see how this plays out. Yellowstone told me she had wandered around 30 years before meeting up with the other two. These girls have decades of baggage. It's like the rest of us, really. Slap. All it takes is one single clap from Yosemite for both Yellowstone and Zion to rise in attention. Even Pup does it. They're better trained than most of my co-workers.
It took slightly longer than expected.
I sorta expected it.
She gives the evil eye to Yellowstone. It shuts up pretty quick.
But it looks like we're finally ready to go.
Yeah, you should not use the same password for everything. Don't, like, honestly, get a good password manager, actually. Don't use the same password for everything. Never a good idea.
Hooray!
Hooray!
It's so cute. Zion is the only one to even try and match Yosemite's enthusiasm. Her heart doesn't seem in it though. She taps the air with a light fist bump.
Yellowstone, can you make sure everything is accounted for?
Yellowstone tears herself away from cringing at the picnic basket, which is looking more and more like a waste seal as the food drips over the edges. She forces a smile, her greatest talent.
Aye, aye. Blanket and weights in case it gets windy.
She points to her bag and shakes her backpack. I can hear the weights rattling around in it.
Check! Adorable Earth Angel who's gonna have a swell time!
Bell rings in her voice. She throws Zion a thumbs up. Zion nods and gives her thumbs up back. Yellowstone doesn't look convinced though.
Check! Evo?
I'm actually kind of excited.
I look down and try to hide the creepy looking grin I know I get when I'm happy, but Yellowstone still notices anyway and smiles like she just saw something disgustingly precious. Also, thank you for the follow, welcome in. You forget yours, which is why you always call. Yeah. Writing them down on physical paper is actually a pretty darn good idea, though. The worst part is just when you do update one of them and you forget to also update the physical paper, and then at some point you're just like, fuck, wait, which one was it? Happened to me before. Yeah. She giggles.
Check!
Just let me be a national park nerd in peace, please. I beg of you.
Yosemite and her, basket of grub.
Why are you so afraid of calling my cooking food?
Because it is apparently not qualified to be called food.
Check!
She doesn't just skate along to avoid the subject, she skates a full 180 degrees to avoid looking at Yosemite.
Is Puppers tagging along?
Up hearing his name in mangled capacity, leaps off my bed and bounds over. He spins in circles, rubbing against my leg after every few spins, like his brain can't quite keep up with his body.
Nah, he's staying here. Just gonna keep him outside while we're gone.
It's not up to ability regulation standards. Yeah. Now without our cuddle buddy, Zion floats off the bed and lands near the rest of us.
I saw him by the campground earlier. Isn't that a little concerning? He's getting off.
Oh. Sorry.
I saw him by the campground earlier. Isn't that a little concerning? He's getting awfully used to people.
He likes people.
I know, right? Pretty boy thinks he's human. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
There's a long, uncomfortable silence while my baby talk seems to echo across the cabin. It's only broken up by Pup growling as he tries gnawing on my shoes. Shoe, singular.
See, no hunting instincts at all. It's fine.
Is it? Zion sighs and digs deeper into her hair and snaps off a branch.
Stick?
Pup's head tilts to the side. Zion flies over to the door, rolling the stick through the air like a magic wand. She opens the door and Pup scrambles over.
Want the stick, boy? Want the stick? Go get it!
Oh yeah.
With the paint gun, she tosses it outside. It doesn't go very far, but it's enough for Pup to chase after it, and more importantly, for Zion to close the door before he can come back. No! He starts to scratch and whine at the door. It's hard to resist the temptation to let him back in. Fortunately, Yosemite doesn't give me much time to dwell on my broken heart.
So now that the little fluff ball is out of the way, is everybody all set?
I think so.
Looks like it, Chief.
Wonderful. Care to do the honors, Zion?
Of course. Where am I taking us to?
Come on. You know the place. Your favorite place?
Oh boy.
It would be hard to have a picnic at Angel's Landing. It's quite chilly up there.
Yosemite frowns and beckons her forward with a finger. She leans in and whispers something in Zion's ear. Her small nose wrinkles in confusion as Yosemite backs away.
Yes. I can take us there, if that's what you want.
Yosemite doesn't so much sigh as she does deflate. Not the answer she wanted, I'm guessing.
Okay, everyone. Please hold hands. Miss Eve, I know this is your first time doing it with a group, but don't worry. It's simple. Sure is. All you gotta do is touch the old bread makers here with the buddies.
Before I can jerk it away, she grabs my wrist. With a kung fu grip, she forces my hand to Yosemite's. When Yosemite resists, Yellowstone just does the same thing to her.
There. Golly, you two don't have nothing but salt and pepper in ya, huh?
Our fingers interlock. For a moment, our palms touch, the skin pressing together. We both loosen our grip immediately and look away from each other. Far, far, far away, where neither of us have to see each other's stupid faces. I was definitely being the stupidest, stupid, braggart, idiot.
What on earth did you do to make your hands so callous? You could light a match on it.
Says the one with actual stone for freckles. Hello? I wish I could throw it right back at her, but her hand is so smooth I could hardly even feel the lines on her palm.
Yours feels like peeled tree bark.
I now pronounce you two ranger and elf. Question mark.
Is that your only insult?
It is, and I hope you get termites.
Yellowstone grabs my free hand and squeezes it. My fingers feel like twigs bending and cracking in the grasp of Yellowstone's strength. My body flexes as I deal with the crushing pain. In my resistance, I squeeze Yosemite's hand. There's a single snap. She lets out a yelp that sounds just like Pup.
Girls?
Puffs of black smoke whistle out of the top of a volcano like a steam engine.
Unless the both of ya are cruising for a bruisin', let's not turn this into a slobber knocker.
Yellowstone, I love the words you're using to form sentences, even if I have no idea what half of them mean or where they're supposedly from. But yeah, sure. What? A slobber knocker. Okay. She says it all through gritted teeth. A dark smile forces itself across her lips and digs into her cheeks, corrupting her usual jolly dimples. A red glow pulses from our volcano, and I decide then and there that it's probably for the best to try and avoid any future eruptions.
Capiche?
Capisce! Caprisa! What? Oh, you funny words, Magic Man, for real.
Yosemite hurriedly nods. I follow suit.
Yay! Take us away, cutie!
Zion nods, then extends her hand to Yosemite. She accepts it and tenderly strokes it with her thumb.
Don't let go, Miss Eve. That would be very bad.
Caprice of Validity. I cannot help it.
Uh-huh? Why am I only being told this now?
Wind rushes up from beneath me, lifting me up into nowhere. All that surrounds me is electricity, like I'm a grain of static in every television sign off-screen to ever flicker on a screen, and that I've been living this way, forever. I'm not breathing, I'm not existing, I'm only moving, and I move into darkness. When I stare too long, vague shapes of constellations and heavenly bodies show themselves. I feel my hands begin to slip out of Yellowstone's and Yosemite's. Before I can let go, my knees hit the ground.
Ugh.
Able to breathe again, I begin shoveling in as much air as I possibly can into my lungs. This wasn't nearly as intense the other times.
Thank you for flying, Air Zion. I apologize for the turbulence.
Hey, Zion, at least we didn't land belly up. Wait.
Is this?
I rubbed my hands across the ground. Moist soil and dirt cooled my skin. Grabbing a clump of thin wild grass, I let it slide through my fingers. It's yellowish green and thin as wheat.
Zion National Park?
I jumped to my feet, tripped, then jumped back up again. A splattering of tall trees extend into the distance in all directions. In the clearing where we are, the land is nearly bare of them, but the further you go, the closer they get to each other and the more of them there are. Until these sparse, almost naked trees combine their presence and merge into a forest. There's an elegance to them, the restrained spacing of the pine needles allowing them to show off more of their tone and sleek wood. If the mighty redwood cousins back in Yosemite are knights, then these are fencers. They all accumulate at the base of a mountain, as if it were a place of gathering and worship. The mountain looks alien compared to the natural green of the trees. Its face is a grey mass, but jagged stripes of pink and grey minerals outline it. The unmistakable trademark of Navajo sandstone. I am assuming that is how you pronounce that, but I don't actually know. Patternless nooks and overhangs look like it's been carved into the mountainside by an artist with no vision. Something so chaotic and random it could only exist in nature, yet it anchors this entire forest, presiding over it like a custodian.
Feast your eyes, Ranger. You're looking at the North Guardian Angel.
Oh yeah.
There's more popular places in the Co-op Terrace.
Sam must feel Yosemite's eyes watching her because she immediately course corrects.
But the Northgate peaks are always so beautiful. Something as simple as sitting between a mountain can really humble you.
Okay.
You're telling me! Just looking at it makes me feel like a teeny tiny ant floating through oblivion.
Huh. You get that too?
Like clockwork. I just try to push the bad thoughts away.
You know, the universe is going to collapse on itself one day.
Not thinking!
Yellowstone plucks her ears and stomps her feet to drown me out. Yosemite has wandered off, inspecting the ground for a flat spot clear of any rocks.
Eve, stop inducing an existential crisis in Yellowstone. Yellowstone, could you help me with setting up the food, please?
Okie dokie, Smokey.
Smoky? Yellowstone prances over to Yosemite, humming a little tune to herself. For someone who was brushing up against a nervous breakdown, she sure did recover easily.
But you gotta let me choose the picnic spot. Not just any old ground will do. It's an art.
And I assume you're the artisan?
Yes, indeedy. And you can just call me DiCaprio.
Wrong Leonardo. Wrong Leonardo you're referencing. She proudly crosses her arms, basking in her status as a skilled homemaker. Meanwhile, Yosemite is basking in the stupidity of what Yellowstone just said.
Do you mean Da Vinci?
Da Vinci.
The two of them go off arguing the dichotomy of Leonardo's as they search for the perfect place to picnic. While they're busy doing that, now would be the perfect time to really take in the sights. I take out the camera I stashed away in my flannel pocket. It's a digital one I bought almost 10 years ago and I still barely know how to work it. But once I get it turned on and triple check it's not set to record, I start snapping away. It's not every day I get to visit Utah. In fact, the only time I've ever visited has been when I drove through it when going to Georgia for my federal training in Glencoe. I have no idea where any of these places are. When powers have got us to rewrite the laws of the universe itself, I'm unsure whether you want to trust those specific lesbians to save the time and space continuum, but yeah. I've always loved just how red all the mountains are. Not so much here, but you wouldn't have to go very far to find entire mountain ranges that glow as if an entire sunset was being projected upon them. There's no other state that looks quite like it. Is that Madoka's spoilers? I don't know. Have you seen Madoka? The people are nice too. I zoom in up close on one of the more interesting spots of the North Guardian Angel. An overhang on the far left. It's curved in such a way that the shadow cast under it makes it look like the entrance to a shallow cave. The wall of the mountain fades into a dull pink at the end of it. If you have not seen Madoka, then it's not spoilers, no. I mean, what have you done in your life that you haven't actually seen Madoka yet? I should rewatch it, actually.
Are you actually happy to be here, Miss Eve?
Yeah. Grass rustles. I look away from the camera. Sam creeps to my side, twiddling her thumbs and keeping her eyes locked to the ground, as if the simple task of talking to me was a potential risk.
Surprised I'm capable of feeling joy?
Don't be such a stick in the mud. Panic sets in as she scrambles to clarify.
Oh no, not at all.
Hesitance sets in as she realizes she can't.
Well, not entirely.
As polite as ever, I say, even when the truth is inconvenient.
Don't need to sugarcoat it, kid. I know what I am.
To be fair, I haven't seen enough Power Rangers to know. But there exists a lot of fascinating stuff in Power Rangers or any of those kind of shows where you're just like, yeah, honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised. But no. I think the lesbians that rewrite the laws of the universe, that is more like magical girl show-esque than stuff like Power Rangers.
You do?
Whatever she's thinking, I've been called it. Cynical, stick in the mud, hard as, or as Yellowstone might put it.
Sure. A grump.
A grump. Sand jolts up, so far as she floats back to the ground, swinging her head back and forth.
That's a fib. Never ever have I thought you were grumpy, Miss Eve. Just sad.
That's not really that much better. Gravity must have gotten a little heavier because my arms fall limp at my side along with the camera. Sand is such an anomaly, even when compared to volcano hats and waterfall hair. She's intuitive in ways most adults are too self-absorbed to be, and she does it with the gentle honesty of a child. As far as I know, she could be both or either. Who knows how years and age even works for these girls? Despite that, it's hard to feel like she's effectively anything other than a kid.
How can I be sad when you're so pretty? This park has sights I couldn't dream of seeing in NorCal.
Hell yeah. It's not something I'm particularly good at doing consciously, but I try to give her a smile, using my mom as a base of reference. Someone who managed to ascend to sainthood despite raising 5 rowdy kids, or because of it. You have 4 brothers? Damn. Cyan can't hide her blush, as pink as the gradient on the mountain. Her usual uncertain curtsy is briefly taken over by a huffy pout.
You really mustn't say things like that, Miss Eve. It's embarrassing for all parties.
I've never really thought about it much before, but she really does sound like a mini Yosemite sometimes. Except Zion's big words have the benefit of not being spoken by a big mouth. Let's hope old Leaf Ear's personality doesn't wear off on her too. Which is funny, because from everything we've kind of seen so far, wouldn't it have been the other way around? Zion was there first, and Zion is the one that actually kind of raised Yosemite, but whatever happened, that she's regressed back to being more of a kid state and losing even more of her memories than the others? Oh boy.
But just so you know...
She lowers her voice to a grave whisper, cupping one side of her mouth to tell me a secret. She waits for me to crouch down. I don't.
It's very possible for someone to feel sad, but to try and hide it by pretending to feel another way.
Uh-huh. And do you think that's what I'm doing?
She shakes her head again, twice as hard and with twice as many shakes.
Not anymore. Not at all. You seem to smile so much more these days. And you don't sigh as much before going to work now. That one is the most notable. Sighing is the sign of sadness there is. You're still scary, but you've absolutely changed. Now you're nice scary.
What is that supposed to mean? Pressing her hands together, she gives a smile, but the way she closes her eyes while doing it makes me think she's just scared to see my reaction. As she should be, because that's hogwash. What's with these campers? What's with Zion? Or Jessie for that matter? What am I doing now that's any different than before? There's no change in just doing your job or the stupidest simplest thing like smiling. It's called being a normalist human, and last I checked, it didn't imply something as drastic as going soft, or letting go of the things that made you hard to begin with.
Trust me, kid, I'm just as scary today as I was yesterday. No one stops being miserable overnight. Throw me a bad day and see how nice I am then.
Well, I suppose that's true. But you've been with us for more than a single day, or night for that matter. Change is as gradual as the passing of dusk to dawn, after all.
You still notice the crack of dawn, though. Can't say it looks much brighter than the witching hour right now.
Sam contemplates us, rubbing her chin like a junior detective.
In that case, you're probably still sleeping. Some people sleep in for an awfully long time.
She glances over at Yosemite. Her and Yellowstone are arguing over whether Splinter was one of the Renaissance greats or not. I don't know how I got to this point. I don't know how my life got here either.
Zion, are you feeling sad and pretending?
If there's something going on between her and Zion, whatever wordless little struggle it may be, I'm about to get sucked into it at some point. This is what happens when an entire social ecosystem is crammed into a cabin. I think that sentence should say if there's something going on between her and Yosemite, but I understand. Zion's shoulders tense up, then slump down. It's hard to read her expression based off her profile, but when she turns to face me, her tiny hands are clumped up into fists and certainty steals her gaze.
We do what we can for as long as we can, Miss Eve.
Okay, don't start getting even more cryptic on me now. There's a sharp whistle from behind us. We look back and both of Yellowstone's pinkies are in the corner of her mouth. Talk about skill. On the other end of the spectrum, Yosemite also has both of her pinkies in her mouth and is still blowing all the air stored up into her lungs onto them. When she notices us watching, she pretends she was coughing into her hand. On the ground beside them, an entire picnic spread has been set up.
Stew's down, you two! Come and get it!
Stew! For a picnic? Yellowstone scrunches her nose.
Say, Yosemite, don't you mean soup's up?
Come and get it!
Vagueness is coming. Oh boy. With a small sigh, Zion leaves me behind and starts to walk over to the others. At this distance, I wonder why she doesn't just use her wings.
However long we can take it.
Oh god, what's wrong?
Coming, Yosemite!
Yosemite greets Zion with a smile and small hug, having been separated by the long, untraversable distance of 100 feet. America, why do you do this? However many meters that is, not a lot. Then she looks over to me and her eyes go flat like a dead fish. She points at the invisible watch on her wrist. Amazing. Even in moments of obvious internal crisis, she still manages to be insufferable. We lock eyes. I put on a smirk as smarmy as the one she usually wears, then make my way over. Real slow-like.
Gotta say, girls, this place is gorgeous. Maybe even prettier than the park we came from.
America, fuck yeah! Eagle emoji, eagle emoji, eagle emoji. Come on! I don't mean it, of course. No, not with all the memories I have there. But if it'll get under the skin of Yosemite the prude, then I'll temporarily diss Yosemite the park.
It's cute how you believe your pettiness will fuel my ire, when all it does is serve to further your own rot. Perish, gremlin.
Don't use those $20 words of yours to be a Grinch, Yosemite. Dollface was just smelling the roses.
Yellowstone, unaware of the psychological warfare occurring in front of her, sticks up for me. This is it. I win. Yosemite can't fight back against such oblivious kindness.
And they smell great.
I let the sentence slide out in a whisper, so backhanded I can almost see it slap Yosemite's face. She clicks her tongue and waves me off. For once, a total victory. Finally. Yellowstone might not notice it, but Zion sure does. Throughout all of this, her eyes have been sweeping back and forth between me and Yosemite. She uses a lull in the conversation to shift gears.
This spread looks like something out of a picture book. Did you set it up, Yellowstone? Bet your tush I did. It was just about the only thing my father would let me do.
Dun dun dun! Aesthetically, the picnic spread really is perfect. Yellowstone's knack for detail shines, with every paper plate and dish arranged around the picnic basket as if it were a coffee table centerpiece. On all four corners, smooth stones weigh down the blanket to keep it from crinkling up. All that's missing is potato salad and fireworks. Even the spot she picked feels like it was expertly chosen to create the most all-American picnic experience possible. Right underneath an elder tree with drooping branches and leaves for shade. I know which spot I'm taking.
Hey Zion. How does the food look? I made all of it. Even the globe mallow gruel that you like. Doesn't it make you salivate? Doesn't it bring back memories?
Hey, Yosemite. I feel like you're trying a little too hard to get her to remember things. Yeah? I feel like this might backfire on you spectacularly. Soon. Very soon. Yeah, memories of puking on the blacktop as a kid. Oh, ew. In all fairness, it could end up being good, but things aren't looking too hot right now. Some of these dishes look recognizable, but they're all the wrong color. That grits, oatmeal, porridge thing she made? Yeah, that's orange. It shouldn't be orange. A fruit salad with pine needles as bedding. That's my only guess for the plate next to it. Were these even the fruit Jessie brought over with the groceries? Was any of this? She did the weird disappearing thing while making the food. Did she just go out and pick whatever she could find? Zion observes the assumedly edible substances in front of her and nods.
This looks like you tried really hard, Yosemite.
Good job! Ouch. It must be fire season because Yosemite just got burned. But it doesn't seem to bother her. In fact, she's smiling, like her macaroni portrait just got hung on the fridge. Good job, Yosemite. It's not Da Vinci or DiCaprio, but you got 2 gold stars. She's either deranged or resilient.
I'm glad. I was thinking of you the entire time.
She's deranged.
Come on, let me fix you a plate.
Yosemite sits down on a blanket and starts to pile a little bit of everything onto a flimsy paper plate.
I'll do yours next, Yellowstone. Eve, you can do it yourself.
Aw, thank you. Whatever, I don't want her poisoning me anyway. Flopping down on the blanket, I slump against a tree. Call me overly cautious, but I'm gonna observe the reactions to this food before I even consider putting it in my body. Yosemite sets down Zion's plate in front of her. It's a mountain of food, almost as big as the extra mountain behind us. All mishap? What the fuck, brain? All mished and mashed together, it's taken on the color and texture of brown and rainbow trout. A bastardization of the food pyramid if I've ever seen one.
This is a lot.
Of course it is. I know you say you're a picky eater, but the Zion I know would be happy with whatever she got. She would be grateful for simply having food.
I feel like her constantly going, the Zion I know is exactly what's going to make this Zion go absolutely bonkers at some point, being like, okay, but I don't remember being the Zion that you remember you need to let go. The unhappy cherub gives a defiant groan and pokes at Food Mountain with her fingers. It jiggles.
Don't give me that. I expect you to finish everything on that plate. You don't expect me to let you starve now, do you?
Before I'm even done leaning over, Yellowstone is waiting for me to whisper in her ear.
Is starving to death even an option for you 3?
We get cravings, but it ain't like we'll croak from hunger. Before these 2, I could go weeks without eating.
Man. To be honest, if I didn't have to eat, it would be one of the first things I'd give up, like, immediately. Like, You know, there's people that are like, oh, you know, if you didn't have to sleep, I would never sleep again. I don't even mind. I like sleeping. But if I didn't have to eat to actually stay alive, I would not. Like maybe sometimes things I like, yeah, sure. But like, if you didn't have to, I would stop immediately. Like, that's not something I enjoy. That's what I thought. What kind of fairy tale creature keels over from something as mundane as a lack of food? Yosemite has always been stuck on hyperbole, but now she's just playing house.
You're right, Yosemite.
Gripping a fork, Sam plunges it into the gelatinous mass. After swallow back to vomit a little when she slips it into her mouth.
Yum. It's so crunchy.
It cracks like thin bones between her teeth.
Those would be the pine needles. They're quite nutritious.
She bobs her head up and down, squirreling away the food in her cheek.
Really hits the spot.
Oh god.
Does that mean you like it?
Sam swallows. The gulp sounds like an anvil settling in her stomach. Then, somehow, through all the different shades of discomfort flickering through her eyes, she smiles. Not just a smirk either, a bright sunny beam.
I love it. Almost as much as I love you, Yosemite.
Oh!
Oh, brother.
Where art thou?
Me and Yellowstone can only sigh as the performance before us amps up the theatrics. Yosemite buys into it though. Hell, she might even purchase a playbill during intermission. She swoons over Zion like her mere presence is enough to make her melt into a soup of unicorns and hearts.
Such a sweetheart.
There's a crack in her voice and the facade. Her breath shakes. She smacks her chapped lips as they quiver.
I'm so lucky to have you.
We do what we can for as long as we can. Zion's words seem more relevant than ever. She places a comforting hand on Yosemite's thigh.
No. I'm so lucky to have you. I'm sorry for being so difficult.
I'm not sure how much good it did, but Yosemite gets halfway to a smile.
You have nothing to apologize for, little one.
She boops down on the nose. Her eyes go wide like a flashlight was just shined in her face.
If this doesn't work, I'll be the one that needs to apologize to you. Speaking of apologies...
Yosemite picks up another plate and starts loading it up with more food. Her bangs dangle over her eyes and hide most of it, but a slight blush streaks across her face as she's forced to admit that even she isn't without her faults.
Sorry for taking so long, Yellowstone. You must be getting antsy.
Oh, no, really, it's no biggie. You don't gotta... Okay, you're already doing it. That's fine. This is fine. Everything is fine.
Red colors Yellowstone from the top of her volcano to the tip of her chin. A fresh, wobbling plate of slop is tossed in front of her. With nothing more than a passing glance, Yosemite vaguely acknowledges me.
I meant what I said. Starve.
Honestly, I think, in this case, starving is the better option.
You're doing me a mercy.
That's what I'm saying. She sticks her nose in the air and returns to attending to Zion. Ever the optimist, Yellowstone scoops up a chunk of the Yosemite surprise and gulps. She's trembling.
Rub-a-dub-dub. At least it ain't mud.
Yikes. High praise. A gust of wind blows past us as she stares down the fork. Somewhere in the world, a tumbleweed drifts across the desert. Yellowstone is quick to the draw, though, and bites down before it can get her first. I don't doubt that it would have. Chew. Swallow. Gag. Fork falls onto the blanket. Yellowstone limply sits on her knees, staring off into a safe place far from here. In her eyes are the reflections of every disaster and atrocity to ever scar the earth. The Black Death, Hindenburg, JFK, and Dallas. I see it all.
That bad?
About what I figured.
She doesn't look at me.
So, what's the problem?
Dunno. I guess some things just really take the Simon out of your Garfunkel, you know?
Didn't those guys actually get back together for shows? Just relatively recently, like some months ago? Didn't they finally get over the beef or whatever they had? Or am I completely thinking of the wrong guys? Oh, whatever. I know. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I know that the script is from 2015, but didn't Simon and Garfunkel literally just last year do something? I'm pretty sure. The distance between me and her may as well be from the sun to the moon. I do what I can and give her one solid pat on the shoulder. Yeah, see, I don't either. I think I remember one of my colleagues talking about it. Simon Garfunkel. Yeah. Yeah, literally November last year. They apparently talked it out again. They're both 83 now. Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel. Anyway, so I did think of the right guys. Crazy. You gave Yosemite the benefit of the doubt, kid. There's nothing else you could have done.
Well, let's just stuff that trauma away for another day.
Wow, that really is how she copes.
For now, it's time to hatch Plan Y.
Plan Y? What happened to the other 24 plans?
They don't exist. The Y stands for Yellowstone.
That's fair. She takes a quick glance at Yosemite, who's currently wiping crumbs off of Simon's face. With the coast clear, she does a small fist bump and starts digging around in a volcano. I feel nothing as I watch her arm go elbow deep inside her own head. Only emptiness gnaws at the pit of my chest as her tongue wiggles out the corner of her mouth, as if she's struggling to find gum in her purse.
Aha! Bingo!
Did you bring anything else that we could eat? Like a magician whipping a rabbit out of her hat, she lifts out 2 Ziploc baggies with sandwiches inside them. Alright, those emotions I wasn't feeling earlier, I'm feeling all of them now, viscerally. She doesn't expect me to eat that, right?
Not to be a stick in the mud, but I kinda saw this coming. So I did a little prep work in advance. Hope you like tuna salad.
Oh god, she actually does. She tosses me one of the baggies. The heat melts to my skin as soon as I catch it. I play out potato with it, passing it between my hands until it's cool enough to actually handle. Why do these girls keep throwing more bizarre concepts at me to accept? This time, literally. Wait, is it always warm inside Yellowstone's head? I thought a volcano only acted up when she got angry, but the bag felt like it was nuked in the microwave. You love tuna? I don't actually. I'm not big on fish. As soon as you... Pescatarian? Funnily, yeah, I am pescatarian insofar as the only fish that I eat, or that I ate even before I stopped eating meat in general, was salmon in the first place. So whenever I tell people I'm vegetarian, they're like, oh, but you eat fish, so technically you're a pescatarian. I'm like, yeah, I eat one exact kind of fish, and even that I only eat, like, when it's with sushi or when it's smoked. I don't really want to, like, explain that to every single person who ever is like, oh, is there anything you don't eat? And I go, yeah, I'm a vegetarian. Oh, but don't you eat fish? Yeah, I mean, technically. I look up from the baggie and at her, trying to get a good read on her mood, but she's just staring at me expectantly, waiting for me to shove this hat sandwich down my gullet. I mean, I'd rather have a hat sandwich than the whatever other paste that is. I spend enough time with Yellowstone to know that she bottles things up, though, to the point where she explodes when letting out her feelings. Maybe this Yosemite and Zion business just has her irritated. When it comes to all 3 of them, I'm always doing guesswork.
You're gonna be so jazzed about this sandwich, EVO. I spread lots of brown butter on it.
Are you trying to clog my arteries before I'm 30?
What's so special about brown butter, by the way? I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
There's always Yosemite scrub.
She says it with a grin on her face, but she may as well be telling me that death is the only viable option. Yosemite sneaks a peek at us after hearing Yellowstone's comment, but turns her nose up as soon as I notice. Looks like someone's salty about the fact that people witnessing her holding a small child emotionally hostage don't want to eat her trash.
Well, bottoms up, I guess.
I open the bag and take out the sandwich. Melted cheese and tuna ooze over the crust. The bread is flaky and firm, and it all looks delicious, and I hate myself for eating like this every day, but I'm hooked at this point. Chemically addicted. When I bite into it, the juices from the tuna flow into my mouth, For a brief moment, I decide life is worth living.
What the hell? It's evenly cooked, too. You're just toying with my taste buds now.
Ah, that's a side effect of the old noggin. To be honest, I wanted it to be fluffy and light. The ultimate picnic food.
She slides in closer to me, her downcast gaze fading into a knowing smile as she signals her victory.
But as long as you dig it, I guess I can let it slide.
I like that, since last episode with the Yellowstone focus, they've definitely grown closer. Like, specifically Yellowstone and Eve. Not that Yellowstone ever had, like, a big problem befriending people from what we've seen, but you can definitely tell that Eve has opened up more towards her, for sure. Thank you, Yellowstone National Park, bringing a whole new meaning to the term brain food.
Is there anything else that head of yours can do?
Oh yeah, a whole bunch of neato stuff. It's even a handy dandy.
She grabs a plate of Yosemite Delight in front of her and tosses it in her hat. Yes, including the paper plate.
Insult me.
You have split ends.
Lava surges from my head. The sound of an explosion drops like a bomb. The heat warms my face as if I were mere inches away from a blazing fire. Yosemite and Zion turn their heads, the harsh orange light coloring their faces. When the lava gazier plummets back into her head, they go back to what they were doing, unfazed.
Garbage disposal!
Let's put the fork in the garbage disposal.
Horrifying.
And oh so convenient!
Well, she's got me there. Yellowstone pulls open the bag, but only takes the sandwich half out, instead using the bag as a crumb catcher like a burrito. After taking a few bites out of it, a simple smile spreads across her face. Posture relaxes and she melts further into the blanket. I guess decent food can change anyone's mood for the better, even someone as cheery as Yellowstone. She still glances over at Yosemite and Zion from time to time, observing the suffocating maternity of it all, but even that's a little more subdued now. Yosemite rests her chin on her clasped hands, watching Zion poke and choke down her food. The kid has gotten so used to it by now, she almost makes it look natural. And for a while, we all just sit there and munch away at our food. A soft breeze whispers through the valley, rattling the leaves above me. I look up and stare at the clouds through the dancing branches and watch them drift away into the sky's faded blue forever. With a deep breath, I draw in as much of the fresh air as I can and let it fill my lungs. It feels like a cleanse. Then I close my eyes and just soak it in. Hey Teddy, it's me again, your favorite prisoner. Right now I'm in Zion National Park, courtesy of the obvious. Yosemite and Yellowstone are here too. I wish I could write good things about the food, but unfortunately Yosemite decided she's due for a crisis and made it all herself instead of letting Yellowstone do it. I haven't tried it, but apparently it turned out as well as you would expect. There's something going on between Yosemite and Zion right now. Don't know what, but it's starting to feel like a bomb is about to go off. These girls sure are too human for their own good. And it got me wondering, when was the last time I've done something like this? Just sat underneath a tree and enjoyed the moment, or enjoyed anything for that matter. Actually enjoyed it, not the relief of a good cup, but experiencing something in a way that penetrates through the fog, that makes me feel like I'm living and not just suffering through life until I wither into the ground. Comfortable silence, nature in its eternity, seeing a mountain and knowing it was there before I was born, and that it'll stay there long after I'm dead. Feeling tiny and grateful in a world that's far larger and more significant than my ego could ever be. These are my favorite things, and these are the things that I enjoy. And yet, expressing them, experiencing them, and even feeling them, I'm scared to do it, Teddy. More than an admission of defeat, it would be making myself vulnerable. It doesn't take much either. A bad day, a bad encounter, a bad person. Life has a way of making you resent the things you love. Wouldn't it be better to bury and forget about them? Maybe dig them up every once in a while to get a small glimpse so you don't go completely insane. But when I look up and see these three girls, the very embodiment of the green fields and pink mountain cliffs surrounding them, I start to doubt everything I've just written. Yellowstone is so nurturing, biting her nails simply because she couldn't give everyone a good meal. Zion does her best to make people happy, even if it means eating a plate of their obvious aspiration. And Yosemite, for all her flaws, is always grasping at knowledge. Sometimes she just grabs a handful of straws instead, but all she's looking for is the truth. They're everything I'm too afraid or too tired to be, or maybe everything I was. I could be that. I could go back to that. I could. Do I want to, though? Am I brave enough to actually take that step, Teddy? What stops me, or anything else that could go wrong, from reverting back to how things are? Nothing. That's what. Nothing at all. I wipe the sandwich crumbs off the page and clap Teddy shut with a sigh. Usually I come away feeling bad after journaling, but I guess when I do it while in a good mood, it just has the opposite effect. I'm never going to be content, huh? Siren stretches her tiny arms to the sky as a yawn squeaks out of her. No, stop yawning! You want a cheese and pepper tamale. Mmm. Good cheese.
All done. Thank you very much for the food.
Wow, she actually did it. Crazy. The plate is empty enough for me to believe she actually licked all her slop clean. Just how dedicated to Yosemite is this little squirt.
That's my girl! You make Yosemite so happy!
Siren wrinkles her nose. Maybe even she's surprised by how much she's getting babied compared to usual.
Okay. Well, if you're happy, then I'm happy. I think.
Unable to bite down on her bottom lip any harder, Yellowstone speaks up.
Zion, you don't have to.
Yellowstone, please!
Yosemite's voice spikes, then comes back down with a crack.
Please, let me do this.
At first it doesn't seem like her pleading is going to work. Yellowstone takes in a breath to let her have it, but she deflates as soon as Yosemite turns to us. She doesn't say anything. A damn bias to all the talking. She forces a shaky smile and turns back to Zion.
So, how are you feeling now?
No matter how happy of a tone she puts on, her labored breath makes every word ring with hollow desperation.
I'm not sure. A little queasy. I think from the food.
I think we're coming up to the bomb going off in this episode. Whatever facade Zion was trying to keep up for Yosemite's sake is starting to fall apart. Even the simple act of looking at Yosemite seems too much for her to bear as her voice begins to crumble.
But did it remind you of anything? Did it make you nostalgic? I don't care if you liked it or not. All I want to know is that it worked. Please, tell me it worked.
Yosemite fires off strings of panic. They come shooting out of her mouth as quick as they exit. Whatever all of this has been building up to, it's coming to a head. I can say I'm happy to have a front row seat to it.
I'm sorry.
No! What did I tell you? Don't apologize. Nothing is accomplished that way.
Zion winces as Yosemite's fingers grip into her shoulders. With squinted eyes, droplets of tears start to fall from her lashes. She can't squirm away. Yosemite's forcing her to look at her, to witness a sad performance face to face.
Please, Yosemite, I don't understand.
Why not? You must remember something. It can't just all be gone.
I don't know what you're talking about. All I want is for you to be happy, Yosemite. Please tell me how to make you happy.
What the hell is this?
I need you to tell me that you remember this place.
It feels too personal. It feels too visceral?
That you can remember me hiding in bushes and staying until we could see the stars.
She shakes Zion like if she does it hard enough, all the information will just spill out of her.
Tell me the story, Zion!
I hate it.
I don't know what story.
Oh yeah, we're gonna need that hydration in a second. Thank you.
Cut the crap, Yosemite! Whatever you're trying to do isn't working!
And thank you for the pet. She ignores me. Nothing I said broke through. I'm not even sure she heard.
Then tell me what you remember! Tell me how you feel!
Scared.
Alright. A cloud of ash plumes out of Yellowstone's head. She jumps to her feet. The familiar wave of heat pushes towards me. My ears pop like a jet got too close to the ground and broke the sound barrier.
Put a sock in it, Yosemite!
Yellowstone's fury is carved into her face, a deep scowl etched in lines from her nose to her lips. Magma seeps over the top of her volcano and streams down her head. Yosemite sits there in a daze, her grip on Zion's shoulders now just a limp hold. Zion doesn't even need to break away. She rushes over to Yellowstone and buries herself in her stomach, sobbing into her jacket.
I know what you're trying to pull, and I get it. It breaks my ticker, too. But this ain't right. Zion felt bad for you. I felt bad for you. It's the only reason I let this go on for so long. But you did what you always do and took it too far. She don't even remember anything, and you still did it. Well, listen here, Missy. You can throw your weight around when it comes to the rest of us, but I ain't gonna let you do it to Zion! If you actually care about her and aren't just being a selfish square, then you'll leave well enough alone.
Yosemite, her hands still stretched out, brings them in and takes a long, horrified look at them.
I didn't mean...
She can't finish her sentence. Yellowstone glares at her like a beast shielding its cub from a hunter. She switches over to me, but I look away.
I'm so sorry.
Get her! The thing is, though, Yosemite keeps getting her ass handed to her every episode. It's like, you know, last one, she got her ass handed to her by Zion because she kept going off at Yosemite. At Yellowstone. And now Yellowstone is like, ugh. And I can't even blame them. The words tumble out in a hoarse whisper. Yosemite scrambles to her feet and runs off into the forest, disappearing in the thick of the trees. When all is silent, Yellowstone lets out a long sigh and flops back down on the blanket, bringing Zion with her, still nestled in a tight hug. Most of the lava has dried already, but clumps of smoke still wisp from her head like a candle was just blown up.
So, are you going to give me an explanation?
Not now, Eve. It ain't a good time.
Yellowstone strokes Zion's hair, combing out any stray leaves that have grown in. Zion clings to her in balls, the tears streaming down her round cheeks like waterfalls. Is trying to see a pattern here? Yeah, and then episode 4, episode 5 is gonna be the one where we finally have, like, you know, Yosemite having a total mental breakdown, and we're getting her full backstory or whatever. Can't wait.
I just wish she wasn't hurting so much. Why is it so hard for her to be happy?
The last one hits hard enough to knock the air out of me. Why is it so hard to be happy? For me, it's because I think too much. The downfall of mankind, really, but Yosemite? The pain in the ass who prides herself on having all the answers? The one who's always going around and telling me how I should live my life? What's her malfunction? Does she get to have one? After being so insistent about being right all the time, acting all high and mighty like she's some kind of bastion of wisdom and foresight? No, I won't let her. She doesn't get to be unhappy. Not after sitting across the table from me every morning and butting her way into my head. Not after stumbling over her ego enough to make me think she might actually get it in some small way. And not after making Zion cry.
Could you get out of Dodge for a bit, Eve? We need to be alone for a minute.
Sure. Was just about to go for a walk anyway.
I crack my knuckles, leaving Zion and Yellowstone in the ruins of the picnic. With my eyes towards the forest, I follow the direction Yosemite ran in and trample across the field. I'm swallowed by the shadows of the trees as I hike deeper into the forest, dodging low branches and paving new paths where people might have not treaded in decades, if ever. Unfamiliar birds chirp from every direction as I rustle through their home. The soil is moist and dark here, my boots sinking into it with every step I take. One would think that would make it easier to track down Yosemite, but it's like she has no environmental impact at all. 0 footprints and not even trampled grass. For a second, I start to think she stepped herself back to the cabin, but then, between tangled branches, I catch a glimpse of her blue hair. These girls sure have a way of running off into the woods when I don't want to confront reality. I swat away the leaves and march into the clearing. She tenses up. Her pointed ears twitch, then her shoulders relax.
Here to lecture me, I see.
As a matter of fact...
Don't waste your breath. I know what I've done.
I'll use my breath however I damn well please, including to chew you out.
Escalating as always.
How about my fists adjust your definition of escalation?
Damn!
See, that's your problem. When you get the emotion bug, you have no clue how to quarantine it. So you lash out and punch people in the face.
You know, emotions are not actually bugs, right? You are allowed to feel strong emotions.
It's simple.
Quit the charade!
Clenching my teeth, I groan and stomp the dead grass over and over. I don't punch trees. This is all I can do.
What the hell was that back there, huh?
Yosemite freezes, her eyes unblinking as I finish kicking the dirt and catching my breath. I'm not sure which one tired me out more. It's so much effort being angry all the time. So much. Why do caring and not caring have to be so hard?
It was desperation, I suppose.
Her ears flatten and for an unshielded second, her arrow-straight posture slinks too.
No. More like panic. A flash of it all at once. When you break, and you feel you need to take an action. Any action. Or get swallowed by it.
Is it a Zion thing?
It's more than that. It's a crisis of dread rooted in existential...
Is it a Zion thing?
It's a Zion thing.
She finally admits something with actual clarity and not vague poetry.
And what did Zion do?
Nothing. She's done nothing. She's as kind and nurturing and wonderful as she always has been. For as long as I can remember. Most likely before that, too. I'm the one who causes the issues. Who thinks too much, says too much, tries too hard in all the wrong ways. Bet you know that by now.
Glad to see you've developed some self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had it. It's just easier to suppress it than elaborate on it.
For the first time, she may have said something that's actually hard to argue with. And when I see her like this, sulking in the middle of a clearing, like a kid lost in the woods, too deep in to know which direction to take next, it's enough to make me agree with her. There's always been something weird going on with Zion, since the moment they all burst out of the closet pretending to be ghosts. Yeah, since the moment they all burst out of the closet. Sorry. The way they talk about her, how they treat her, we all baby her, sure. But there's real reverence there too. Not too different to how you might treat a grandparent or someone fading away in a nursing home.
Yosemite.
I can hear her drawing a sharp, steadying breath.
What happened to Zion?
She exhales. Her breath comes out in spurts and sputters. Yosemite running on empty.
What happens to everything? Time.
My knee-jerk reaction is to berate her for not just spitting it out, but then I remember something. Things both Yellowstone and Yosemite have said. Zion can't help out like she used to. Yosemite feeding me some mumbo-jumbo about human perception shaping reality. The comment I made about park puberty might not have been far off.
She's changed?
Yosemite turns, not enough to face me. I don't think she could manage that right now. All I get is her side profile. The sunlight breaks through the branches above us and glistens on the pebbles speckled across her face. A tear twinkles from the corner of her eye.
So much. And she used to be so much. So much.
Her fist clenched, fingernails digging into her skin. The words seem to linger right behind the tongue, unable to come to her. She tosses her hands through her hair until it looks like a mop.
So much more than she is now. It's completely and utterly unfair.
Her voice cracks. The wind whistles through the circles of trees surrounding us. It's as if her breathing, scattered and heavy, is composing the breeze. It's uncomfortable, seeing this kind of vulnerability from her. How do I stop this? Where's that part of me that just wants to laugh in her smug face and tell her to get over it? That sulking in the forest isn't any way for the queen bitch to present herself. It would usually just come right out of me, without a second to even filter through my head. But right now, it feels like all I want is to know. What brings the being I look at on the opposite side of the table every morning to the state?
What was she like?
Her voice comes out softer than I ever expected. In the last 5 years, I've probably only used that tone of voice for pub and random critters I see off the side of a trail. Yosemite turns her head to me, her eyes slowly narrow, looking me over. She raises her brows, suspicion puppeteering every subconscious move her body makes away from me. I frown as I notice it. Her ears flicker, eyes going from narrow to wide with surprise. She quickly glances away, back to the side profile. She wanders a few steps closer.
She was like the forest, tall and wise and dignified. If there was something to be known, then she knew it. Every creature, story, and act of nature. If it was within she found me.
Sorry.
If there was something to be known, then she knew it. Every creature, story, and act of nature. If it was within her bounds, she lived alongside it and advocated its spirit. And when she found me, I was included in those bounds as well. All of me. The valley and everything else.
Yosemite had always told me my thinking was too linear. I told her she didn't make any sense. But when she says these things out loud, things that sound far off, almost ancient, I think I get it. As well as I can understand things that might actually be beyond my comprehension. Feeling so far out of my depth, I may as well be in the Mariana Trench, I crack an uneasy chuckle.
You make her sound like an actual angel.
If you had known her, you would have thought she were a goddess.
Yosemite snaps in my direction, biting off a small chunk of the conversation. Immediately she cringes. It makes me wonder if that means she actually feels regret, but of course she does. Of course she does. The lull comes to an end with a chuckle of her own. Just one though, nervous and solitary.
Her wings used to be bigger, you know? Well, all of her was bigger, I suppose. But her wings could stretch out as far as she was tall. Sometimes they seemed big enough to block out the sky.
Creature.
She used to wrap me in them. Her feathers were like clouds and she was warm. And she would look down at me and talk. Teach. I remember it. The images are getting fuzzier and fuzzier. But I can still remember how it felt. But she can't.
Now it all comes together. The story she was so desperate to hear, this whole outing.
The picnic didn't jog her memory like you wanted. Is that it?
There has to be something that can. I don't want to accept that all of it is just gone. If she forgets herself and then I forget her, then what proof will there be that any of it was real? That she was real?
Poor Zion. Not because she's forgotten herself or whatever, but because Yosemite can accept the her that she is now, that her entire existence is deemed invalid because of Yosemite. While Zion must be forced to play along simply because of Yosemite's feelings. Now I get why Yellowstone was so upset.
That's real screwed up. All she knows is that you have high expectations, and you'll be sad if they aren't met. If she can't even remember anything, then how can you expect her to ever meet those? It's a litmus test, and a crummy one at that.
I'm ready for her to throw something right back at me, but she hardly reacts.
Call it what you want. Doing nothing would have been a betrayal to everything she did to make me who I am now. The only other option is to accept that the Zion who was real to me has been obliterated.
She starts for the other end of the clearing, further from the picnic than before. Then she stops at the mouth of 2 trees.
You might not believe me, but I am sorry that you were dragged into this. I know I'm selfish, angry. I don't mean for it to infect everything.
I call out to her, straining my voice so that she can hear me loud and clear from the other side.
You're only selfish if you can't accept her.
She glances over her shoulder.
Would you?
Shade engulfs her as she fades back into the forest. Wow! Oh, you have a flair for the theatrics. It's crazy. If you weren't a national park girl, I would say you're a theater kid. When she's gone, the race stops. Birds return to the clearing, chirping as they warm themselves in the beams of sun spotting the ground. A long sigh heaves out of me. I didn't even know I was holding my breath. I lean against the rough bark of the tree I thought about punching earlier. The thought strikes me again now, but despite all that, I still can't bring myself to do it. Can't make that change, punch that tree, read those letters. After all, if the real Zion was obliterated through change, then why would I ever commit to it? Change is not inherently bad.
You can't go out, not when the weather's so nasty.
You can change to be a better version of yourself. A flash of lightning bolts out the world just for a second. It must not be too far away either. Blots out the world just for a second. It must not be too far away either, because thunder crashes outside as if it were right up in my ear. The entire cabin shakes.
The weather wouldn't hurt me, Yellowstone. It wouldn't hurt you either.
Pup whines, trembling beneath the table as he sits on my feet.
So, that don't mean I'm not allowed to worry. First Yosemite runs off, and now you too. It just ain't right.
You had a class about the psychology of change a couple days back. Ooh. I finish reading through another form, then tear it in two.
Oh, please. Stop pretending like you're human. Anyone would get sick of the charade going on inside this cabin after long enough.
Yellowstone shoots a pointed glare at me. It gives Zion just enough time to open the door and slink it onto the patio. The wind is so harsh it blows the rain into the cabin.
I'm sorry, Yellowstone, but I need to think. Hey! Wait!
The door slammed shut, leaving Yellowstone to stare at it, her hand still stretched out for Zion.
That was a real crummy thing to say. We might not be human, but we have feelers that work just as well as yours.
Sorry to hear that.
Unfold the next feedback form and read through it. This one is from a Robert Sanchez who wanted to extend his thanks to the ranger who walked with him to the river. I remember this user. He was looking for a specific spot his wife liked coming to before she passed. It rips in half without any trouble. I take the 2 halves and rip it again, this time into 4 quarters.
Just take advantage of not being human. It's your biggest strength. Don't have to worry about the same crap we do.
Consumption of all change is bad, might because it contains.
Yeah.
No. I mean, we all like changing for the better. Technically, no? It's actually pretty fucking hard to consistently like change for the better, I guess. But it's not impossible.
That's a fib. If we're strong, it's 'cause we're so much like people. That's the way I see it.
Don't look so smug. If Yosemite's collective consciousness mumbo-jumbo is right, then you 3 came from people. That's a tragedy, if you ask me. Rise above it.
Wow, Eve. God damn.
You just keep being a negative Nancy. I'll keep being a correct Kathy.
Correct, Kathy. I don't think that term exists. To perceive things good or bad. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. She folds her arms and smirks, doubling down on her smugness, but the smirk softens, dissolving into a genuine smile. If she was offended by my cynicism, then she's already moved on from it. That's the thing about Yellowstone. She's always being settled with everyone else's negativity. Maybe she never actually does move on from it, just packs it away somewhere inside her, only letting it all bust out of her when she can't contain it anymore. Always smiling until she can't.
Sorry.
I don't even unfold and read the next form, just rip it.
No big dealio. We've all had a rough go of it today.
She takes a chair Yosemite usually sits in and spins it around before squatting in it backwards. She tips it back and forth, 2 legs always off the ground.
We know who to thank for it, at least.
The front 2 legs of the chair slam down on the floor. Yellowstone's bottom lip quivers in sudden horror.
Me?
Not unless you're 6 feet tall and have blue hair.
Oh my god, you have blue hair and pronouns?
Oh.
It's not even relief that colors her face, only blank acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a gap in the conversation, if you could even call it that. The wailing of the storm is the only thing keeping it from lapsing into dead silence.
I know it's easy to get steamed at Yosemite. I'm kinda steamed at Yosemite. But she's sad. And she's been sad for a while. I tried my darndest to keep the fat lady singing for as long as I could, but when she's ready to yodel, by golly, she's gonna yodel.
Automate and optimize mental process just to save on energy. Yeah. But if you're in the same kind of trot that you don't fully enjoy or like, then it feels even worse because it's like always the same thing, right? So like you wish for something to change, to be better. Maybe that's just me. If you're stuck in a stupid job, then you would like to, you know, change it. That's what I feel like, at least. But yet here I am. Hello, good evening.
Don't pin too much on her, please.
I'm not sure that's a request I can honor. My feelings on Yosemite keep getting more and more complicated. She's a rival, a validator, smart, snooty, kind, cruel. There could be an entire dictionary of words to describe her. She can bully Yellowstone into hating herself or manipulate Zion to the point of tears, while at the same time scolding me about my work and the nature of myself. Do I hate her? Respect her? Tolerate her? Are we friends? Sometimes it feels like we're friends. In a way, we always have been, since I first started coming to this park as a little kid. But to admit that is to take a step. Change. Isn't change obliteration, according to her? That's actually one of the few things she said that I find easy to believe, or at least convenient to.
She told me about how different Zion used to be, you know?
Nuance as a person. There's no audible sigh, but a shoulder slump.
When did it start? Have you always known?
Listen, I am a sucker for having a routine I can stick to. It's nice, it's easy, and I hate when a routine gets interrupted. But that also makes me, like, be scared of trying to change something up, because it's like trying to make the new thing stick is always scary and exhausting. It's so easy to fall back into something, you know, the way you've done it before. It's also why I don't believe in the whole, oh, it's a New Year's and here are all of my New Year thingies I want to try. It's like, if you want to change something, try and change it as soon as possible. Like, try and change literally today and try and stick with it. The sooner you get to it, the better it'll be in the long run. Don't wait for an arbitrary date to go, oh, I'm going to, I don't know, stop eating sweets. I'm going to move more. But only at this and that specific point. No, just do it today. I've not actually been keeping with my goal of trying to move more, but I'm overall, like, I'm not as consistent at it as I would like to be, but overall, I'm somewhat doing it more. So that is a thing. It's a small thing, but it is a thing. She sits down at the table, eyeing in on a cup stain, probably from Yosemites tea. Her finger traces over the ring in an infinite circle.
I think it had already started by the time they found me. But even back then, Zion was different.
Different... how?
Shrugging with one shoulder, the other one stays in place so she can keep tracing.
Just different. A little taller, maybe? I don't remember so well. It's like I can think it, but I can't see it. Feelings come back the strongest.
That reminds me of something Yosemite said. If she forgets herself and then I forget her, then what proof will there be that any of it was real? Yellowstone is clearer about explaining this kind of stuff. She doesn't lapse into theatrics, but the impression I get is still the same. Maybe they all forget at one point or another.
The more big ol' Zion changed to little ol' Zion, the clearer she gets in my noggin.
The usual brightness in Yellowstone's voice shines through as she recollects.
And the crankier Yosemite got.
That little burst of sunshine is short-lived, though. The mere mention of Yosemite seems like it's enough to suck the light out of anything.
I always figured she was such a sourpuss 'cause of me, you know? That her and Zion had something real swell going on, and that by me being here, I had jammed it all up. Cooking, cleaning, and all that good stuff. I do it 'cause I'm grateful for the company. And I guess at some point I started hoping the gratitude would make her less sad.
Give up quickly. Yeah. Yeah, both the path and the angel, yeah, I get that. I feel like a lot of times it's also because people have an end goal, but they don't understand how long it might take to actually like achieve it. Especially when it comes to something like weight loss. And you experience a small pushback, or you find out, okay, whatever you tried doing worked for like a week, but then it didn't anymore, and then you immediately go, oh, it will not help at all. It's like, no, that's not true. Consistency is what you need the most. It's like, oh, I want to work out, but I don't have the time to work out for, I don't know, a full hour. Okay, so work out for 20 minutes. I don't have 20 minutes. Okay, work out for 10 minutes. Get moving. 10 minutes of moving is more than no moving at all, just because you don't have, like, the whole thinking in only the full total. I do that with streaming often. I'm like, oh god, it's already later than I usually start, so I can't do a full 3-hour stream, and then I don't stream at all, which is just stupid. Okay, then do a 2-hour stream, do a 1-hour stream, whatever. It's better than no stream at all, right? I say this, and I don't do it, but technically, it would be the better thing. It's just go for it, whatever, okay? So it's a slightly shorter stream, okay. Oh, I don't really feel like doing the thing I put on the schedule, okay? Then do another thing you feel more like doing, but you're doing it. You resolved not to get sick again, and your brother got you sick immediately after New Year's. To be fair, I think resolve is not going to be enough when it comes to getting sick, but also prayer hands, because literally every single one of my colleagues has been sick like these past few weeks, ever since the new year. There's just been a constant rotation of someone always being gone and missing, or being in the office but sniffling and coughing and hacking up their lungs. And I'm just like, please get away from me, please. I am going to cry. I was horribly sick during Christmas and the New Year's. I don't want to get sick again. I need winter to be over. Walking to school, you just stand up randomly to walk. No. Yeah. I mean, as much as I hate it sometimes, I have a phone. Yeah, I do have a phone. I have a watch that tells me that, hey, you have not gotten up in quite a while. You've been sitting for quite a while. Maybe walk a few steps just to get a few steps in, which brings me to a great point. I haven't actually moved in in almost 3 hours ever since we started the stream. I should get up sometime soon. Haha. I don't know how long this episode is. I'm trying to gauge whether we can finish it or whether I should just take a short break here, move a few steps, and then get back to it. Pokemon Go, I haven't played it forever. There's nothing here where I live right now, so I'm always like, it's not really worth it. Like, there's genuinely nothing.
Ever think that some people are just sad by their very nature?
I don't think that is something that actually exists. Being just sad as a nature.
Being sad is natural. All suffering is. But suffer too long and you kind of remove yourself from nature. You want to move with the circle, not get left behind in it. That way, when it comes back around, you're ready.
So little things for help? Hell yeah.
You think Yosemite, a representative of nature, has removed herself from it?
For me, journaling has helped with building some habits, because then I could write them down in my little habit tracker, but I also haven't actually journaled in like a full month. I'm like, okay, this week I'll finally get down to it again, and then I don't, and then another week has passed, and then I feel bad.
Oh, I think it's something a whole lot of people do.
Yellowstone decides to punctuate a point by bouncing her eyebrows.
Ha.
I take another form from the pile and skim over it. Not many more to go now.
Say, what are those papers you keep tearing up?
Nothing important.
Girly pop, please. The pieces flutters to the ground and I go for the next one.
As the gal who's gonna have to sweep them up, I'd say it's pretty important to me.
I'll clean them up then.
I go in for the next one, but she swipes the stack off the table before I can. She grins at me with her teeth, revealing 2 rows of polished pearly whites. My eyes glaze over.
They're feedback forms. Visitors can fill them out. Most do it to complain. All these ones happen to mention me.
Ooh, juicy gossip.
She quickly unfolds the entire stack. Her eyes scan from left to right as she reads through the first page.
Hey, this don't look like moaning to me. In fact, they're saying some real nice things about ya. Handwriting could be better,
Handwriting
though.
could be better, though.
Yeah, they're all like that. My supervisor wanted me to read them.
So why are you ripping them all up?
Because they're convenient lies.
She licks her thumb and shuffles to the next form.
You mean none of these things actually happened?
Oh, they happened, all right. I just think they got the wrong impression of me. take a look at any of those and tell me if it sounds like me.
I think they do.
Then, for my sake, I hope you're wrong.
Yellowstone flips to the next form, saying nothing as she reads through it. She stares at it for a good long time, her eyes unmoving like she's narrowing in on one spot. Then she starts digging around in her head again. Right, really wish she would warn me before doing this. At least I won't have to eat whatever comes out of there this time, I hope. She whips out a small roll of tape, tears off a piece, and bends both sides together to make it double-sided. All I do is watch as she does this a couple more times and sticks them to the back of the form she was just reading.
Having fun?
She answers by snagging Teddy off the table and slapping the form onto the first free page.
Hey! That's my journal, not your arts and crafts project!
I leap out of my chair and rush to the other side of the table, ready to pry Teddy out of her soon-to-be cold, dead hands. She doesn't retaliate, though, already presenting the book to me before I have the chance to get physical. I rip it out of her hand.
You're dead.
Read it.
I glare at her, still contemplating all the sharp objects I could shove inside her head. Ow!
Go on, don't be shy.
I look down at Teddy. The edges of the form she taped in there are sticking out of the journal, breaking up the aligned cohesion of every other page. Looking more like a bookmarker, the form doesn't even let me flip through the pages. All I have to do is open it up and I'm there. There's no name, number, email address, or even a listed date. Aside from logos and the form will tell us how we're doing, all there is to read is the print on the paragraph lines. Didn't catch her name, but I wanted to thank that one Ginger Ranger for sitting down next to me on a log while eating lunch. We only said a few words to each other, but I'm still here for the time being because of it.
There's nothing wrong with being valued, Eve.
Aww. Everything just stops. My heart, my bitching, hell, maybe even my lungs because I'm not even sure I'm breathing. There's no way. I'm not valuable, not worth being valued. A flash of white blinds me and a few seconds later I hear the thunder behind it. When my sight comes back, the room is dark, filled with shadows.
Ah, phooey. The darn lights went out.
Yellowstone scurries across the room from window to window, drawing open the curtains to let in the natural light. It gives me enough time to iron out the lump in my throat and choke down the stray sobs. I'm not valuable, but to one person I guess I was. Because at the end of the day, it didn't matter if they had the wrong impression of me or not, as long as they saw the end of the day. There's a faint knock at the door. Yellowstone freezes in place, both arms spread out, opening up a curtain. I wipe away the tears still stuck to my cheeks.
I'm done thinking. Is it okay if I come back in now?
Zion's muffled voice is barely audible over the sound of rain and thunder, but I can hear her usual polite timidness ring out like a church bell. Guess she didn't outright exile herself like Yosemite did. Don't get why she has to ask permission to come back in from a walk she decided to go on, though. Yellowstone rushes to the bathroom, then shuffles back out, a fresh towel in hand. She opens the front door so fast that I wouldn't be surprised if she wound up tearing it off the hinges.
Come in, I'll give you shelter from the storm.
She ushers Zion inside and closes the door behind her. She's sopping wet. Even her wings are weighed down by the water dripping from them. A puddle forms around her feet.
Just look at ya. You're soaked to the bone.
Without missing a beat, Yellowstone kneels down and starts drying Zion off with a towel. There's no method to it. She just spastically scrubs every area of her body like you might do with your hair after getting out of the shower.
Sorry for getting upset earlier.
Her words are jumbled and muffled by the towel.
It ain't no thing.
She stops scrubbing and Zion's head pops out of the towel. Poor Zion looks as guilty as a felon despite being the victim in all this.
You're not fibbing, are you?
Course not. We've all been getting a little peeved lately, so I think your lid is entitled to at least one flip.
Okay. I still think it was childish of me, though.
That's fair. They smiled at each other, then clung forwards and nuzzled them together. Yellowstone mentioned that Yosemite had a bad case of Mama Bear syndrome, but looking at this, I have to wonder who might have it worse.
You got back here quick. Sure you did enough thinking out there?
She jumps at the sound of my voice, my presence making itself known from the shadows.
Probably not as much thinking as you do, Miss Eve.
Well,
Too much of it, if you ask me.
It's better than thinking too little, probably.
yeah. It's not. She breaks away from Yellowstone, who is still in the middle of drying her, and gets a few steps closer to me. Yellowstone pouts as she wipes up the drops of water behind her.
Actually, the reason I came back is because I wanted to talk to you.
Oh.
To me? Don't know if you noticed, but I don't have the most engaging personality.
That's not true. Yosemite wouldn't like you as much as she does if that were the case.
Like me? What? The words start to stumble out, but just end up sputtering to a stop. No response for that. Yosemite doesn't actually like me, right? Only tolerates me. Unless she really does. My god, that's horrifying! Not because she might see me as an acquaintance that she enjoys spending time with, but because I'm okay with it. Instead of walking the rest of the way to me, she gets up and floats to meet me eye to eye.
Could you possibly take my hand? I'd like to go somewhere special for this.
She is blushing, and it's so funny to me whenever that does happen, because I'm just like, yeah. Yeah. But, maybe you actually like her as well. You know? But maybe you're just both being a little awkward about it. She extends a hand to me. I don't immediately grab it.
Ooh, another field trip! Do we want to try for another picnic?
Actually, Yellowstone.
Yellowstone scrunches up her face like she's trying to do long division. I'm a little worried at first, but she finally gets the right equation.
Oh, I see how it is. You cats think you're too cool for school. A bumpkin like me would just cramp your style.
Zion gasps at the notion. She starts to speak, but Yellowstone turns around and waves us off.
Go on, get. Old Yellowstone will hold down the fort like she always does.
A dismissive hand slips into a thumbs up. Zion breathes a relieved sigh.
Thank you.
Hold on, I haven't agreed to anything yet.
That's okay. You'd end up doing it anyway.
Well, she's not wrong. She clasps my hands and smiles.
Ready?
Yeah, fine.
Static. I'm swept away. The ground gives way beneath me, as do the walls, the air. Anything familiar to ground me is gone. All engulfed by the sizzling of electricity running through me. Then darkness. Deep, eternal darkness. The most natural I've ever seen. It doesn't feel dangerous or scary, just inviting, like the indescribable space I'm falling through are cradling arms of something much bigger. I want to let go. Then there's ground. I stumble for footing, but when you're going to slip, there's never any stopping it.
Ugh, son of a...
My knees slam down on jagged rock. Tiny pebbles melt into my shins. If my jeans weren't already shredded, this would have done the trick.
Such a bumpy landing. You weren't thinking about letting go, were you?
Sound gently floats down beside me. Her wings tuck in as both feet gently touch the ground.
Does it matter if I was? Ouch.
Aww.
It does! You mustn't even think of it! Never, ever!
Okay. Before I can let myself truly meditate on the pain, Zion bends over and helps me up. I dust myself off, but try not to look at my knees. If it's going to leave a mark, I'd rather not see it.
So, I'm guessing we're somewhere in Zion.
A chill wind blows right through me, tossing my hair. Red and orange mountain cliffs bookend a winding, vibrant valley. It encapsulates the area tightly enough to be a canyon. The only proof that there's something beyond here, that there's an end, is a river curving through the green inferno, bending out of sight behind a mountain. A place I'll probably never see, never step foot in.
Feeling enraptured?
Only so many vistas you girls can show me before that stops happening.
I don't believe that's true.
Yeah. It's not.
Smell here is different from Yosemite. I don't even catch a whiff of that familiar alpine scent I love so much. The air here is so thin and crisp, it could almost be called odorless. Not for the faint hint of sage that peppers the back of my throat. It's also clean.
Is this where your painting is?
Angel's Landing. That's correct. Although, I'd like to think of it more as a portrait.
Okay, fair.
Anything with a frame usually is.
Though with a name like Angel's Landing, it's not always this blunt. She smirks.
It seems the best of us is rubbing off on you.
Sam closes her eyes, taking in a deep, steadying breath. It all feels so cyclical in a way. She's taking in air from her land, it filters through her, and then she breathes it all back out. Assuming she has lungs. Assuming anything. She draws her eyes from the green expanse, locking them on her bare feet. A troubled frown has carved itself deep into her face. Not that she hasn't always seemed troubled, frantic little thing that she is.
Miss Eve, I believe I was being wishy-washy today.
Why? Because you couldn't stand up to Yosemite? She was always going to push it as far as she could. It's her malfunction, not yours.
It was never about standing up for myself. What I'm guilty of is much worse. I wasn't able to commit to the truth.
Truth.
I had told you that change is natural.
As gradual as the passing of the dusk to dawn.
I echo her words back at her. She freezes, a little surprised that I remembered it, maybe. The somber look on her face tells me that all I've done is just reinforce what she's determined to be the truth.
Yes, that's right.
And-
And yet, I was uncertain enough to contradict that almost immediately afterwards. Telling you that we do what we can for as long as we can. But that's resisting change. It's a terrible thing. To indulge someone else's stagnation. That's what I did to Yosemite.
I guess that's one way to look at it, but there's something about it that bugs me. It shifts personal accountability from Yosemite to Zion. However, I don't believe for a second that was ever Yosemite's intention. I have my issues with her and how she's acted, but there's always something about it I can relate to. There's no way I could ever read her mind, but I think it would only make her feel worse if she knew Zion was blaming herself in this way.
You know, after she ran, I went and tracked her down.
That was a very kind thing to do.
To chew her out.
Oh,
Every reason and justification she gave me sounded selfish and brain dead. For someone who exclusively speaks with words that are over 2 syllables, she sure has trouble articulating herself. But after cooling off a little, I think I sort of get it.
It's interesting. Even from up here, overlooking everything that there is in the valley, I can still make out fine details. The biggest one is the flow of the river's current. Unlike Zion's portrait, there aren't any white or black dashes in the water to communicate movement to the viewer. All I have to do is look at it, and I know it's moving forward.
She's afraid. Not of change, but what can be left behind because of it. Who you used to be might be different than who you are now, even if you still think you're that person. New isn't scary, but the idea that the old might not be there anymore is. The drama queen compared it to obliteration. And she said that's what happened to you.
I've been dancing around the subject with Zion for long enough. We can talk all day about symbology and allegory that hint at what happened to her, but that's not honest. I think she knows it too. She smiles, like an old master thief finally caught in the act. It's an expression suited for someone far older than how she looks.
Do you know what happened to you?
it's not about knowing, Miss Eve. Anyone can tell they're sunburned if they've been outside long enough. I don't remember. It's like you said. Whoever I was is much different than who I am now.
A dull sadness pulses somewhere hidden in my chest. I'm not sure if it's anything deep, just a shallow wistfulness.
But to say that I've been obliterated would be a true disservice to whoever it is that I was.
A sharp wind pushes at us from behind. Stan's satisfied smile gets a little bigger as her eyes sneak to her peripheral. I make a subtle turn to see what she's looking at. Behind us, Yosemite's tall figure watches from the brush. She stands still, careful to do nothing that would make herself known.
Obliteration isn't real. Everything echoes. Whether me, you, or anyone else knows it or not. Everything is passed down. No one ever truly leaves their old self behind. The old informs the new. It'd be imaginary without it. And not just ourselves, but others too. It's not scary, not one tiny bit, because any part of yourself that's ever been will always be.
I wonder who she's talking to at this point. It's cheeky, more like a sneaky imp than a delicate angel. But who can stand beside an angel and argue with a message aside from the devil and his advocates?
So the residual effects of misery last forever, huh?
Yes, has the building blocks to much better things.
Ah, only to be tossed into a lake of fire. Now that's real obliteration. Strands of Stan's golden hair flutter in the breeze. Petals and leaves fall off her body, drifting into the clear blue sky. Back in California at the cabin, I bet the storm's still raging. Dark skies and howling wind. National parks have the range of a choir.
So, can I ask a question?
I think you just did. But another one is okay too.
Aww.
Do you, have the wings because of the names of places like this, or is there a logistical reason for it? I don't understand why you girls look the way you do at all.
You know what? Actually, that is a very fair question. The twinkle in her eye dulls. Her sage smile goes flat.
Miss Eve, stop overcomplicating everything.
It was a very deliberate design choice. By going, actually, I think she would look even better with wings. And I'm completely covering her little cute smiling face. I just realized, look at that. Look at her lovely smiling face. She's adorable. Ooh! Zion and the Ranger stay for a while longer, the conversation lapsing into a discussion about Zion National Park and the sights of the area. Eve doesn't want to get excited about very many things, but as she talks about all the sites she wants to camp at and the trails she wants to hike, there's a real light that exudes from her. To be truthful, I prefer to the hopelessness that weighs down her personality near constantly. It's easier to imagine myself with that kind of light when she's an example to follow by. Eventually they grab hands and vanish within a blink of an eye. A quick scuff of wind is the only proof that they were ever there. I don't think they noticed me. Being observant is one of the things I pride myself most on, so lurking out of sight isn't a difficult task. Sifting out of the bush, I take a seat on the edge of the cliff. Because of Zion's painting, I have immediate access to this place, but I choose not to come very often. It's a painful reminder of things I know I'll need reminders of. Still, it's a wondrous view. It's unlike anything in my park, and me. The sky turns a magical golden orange. It's as if the sunset is jealous and has chosen to copy the colors of the very mountains it sets behind. The river is not jealous, however. It naturally reflects whatever surrounds it. The river can be whatever it wants and whatever it needs to be. So I sit here, hoping that the blue strands of my hair can do the same as the rivers they invoke, to reflect the things in front of me, even if they are not what I am. So I can chameleon myself as those things, perhaps eventually becoming them in earnest. I do that until the light sinks below the horizon. Then the river only reflects the darkness, and eventually the moon. There's static, the collision of the natural and the unseen. Then there's darkness. And now there's rain. I stand in front of the door, immediate access to anywhere within the confines of this park, and I'm still too much of a coward to zap myself inside. The lightning sizzles to the sky, and for precious milliseconds, it lights up the dark shadows of the surrounding mountains as if it were day.
Thank you for the pet.
Its younger brother, the thunder, moans, booming at me, demanding that I face what my panic has brought. I could stay out here forever and ignore it, but I choose not to. I twist the knob and creep through the door. The inside of the cabin is blanketed in shadows, no electricity, not even fire. The dim luminescence of the outside world, the light that would be there even If even the sun itself was snuffed out, bleeds through the windows. There's no such thing as pitch black.
Yosemite? Is that you?
Her voice is a groggy whisper, yet even that feels like a challenge, as do most things from her. The urge to answer it is just too great.
No, I'm an intruder, here to desecrate your federal property.
Shh. Not so loud. The others are sleeping.
Oh. I didn't know.
My banter just got shut down. Utterly. It feels embarrassing.
Well, don't just stand there. You're letting all the cold air in.
My heart somersaults as I hurry to shut the door. Quietly, of course. The atmosphere is so strange here, as if the entire cabin's axis has been shifted. Subtle, but noticeable. The floor would squeak as I tiptoe across the cabin. I take another step. There's a quiet grunt, more of an irritated breath than a growl. I look down to see the coyote puppy baring his top row of teeth at me. He's laying on his side, legs and ears spread out. It lessens the danger, but I scurry to the ranger-shaped outlet on the couch anyway.
Doc, my teeth keep falling out. Yum.
Yellowstone is also sitting on a couch, slouched over onto Eve's shoulder and drooling. Incoherent dream words slip out of her between snores.
Look.
Her eyes signal down. Curled up like a fetus, Zion takes up the last free cushion, but is small enough for the couch to still feel spacious. There's a soft rhythm to her breath. Sleep always seems so peaceful. No murmurs or snores. It's such a contrast to the panic she carries with her throughout the day. It gives me the impression that the life she leads when she's dreaming may be the real one, and all of this is just a brief and bittersweet vision. A byproduct. I brush her bangs out of the way of her forehead and run my fingers through the rest of her hair. It's soft and weightless, as if it were made from the fabric and strands of all the feathers that have ever formed from her wings.
There's something broken in me, isn't there?
Welcome to the club. Now sit down.
Is that an offer? A demand? Probably both. I hesitate, and somehow I know that I'll be doing that a lot more lately. Hesitating, thinking. Even though I already do far too much of the latter, fear of forgetting and the fear of tomorrow will continue to color everything I do from now on. Just as it's coloring my perception of Zion at this very moment, from loving Manta to child I love, and now to Enigma. Everything is shifting. I know that, despite how much I try to fight against it. Does doing so make me a worse version of myself? I want to uncover truths. It's all I devote myself to, yet here I am, picking against the inconvenient ones. I slide onto the couch, careful not to stare at Zion. Gently I shift her onto my lap. She tussles and my heart drops as I try to will her from waking up. It seems to work because she only nuzzles herself deep into me. Eve does her best attempt to turn her head as she tries to navigate the uncomfortable position of Yellowstone's volcano weighing down most of her left neck muscles.
I called you selfish earlier.
Very cute CG, by the way.
You did?
It's not damning.
It should be, though. I know what I am.
You do?
Of course. I'm selfish. Vindictive and scared. In my crisis, I drag down others to my low. Make them as afraid and uncertain as me.
I look to Yellowstone. Her sleeps are never quite as restful as Zion's. I've heard her mum list of chores and expectations in her sleep before. I've heard her whimper as well. Then I look to Zion, an image of perfection that I'm unsure ever even existed, despite being so sure this morning, but probably not. The ranger, Eve, chews on her bottom lip, contemplating my words. The things I've always treated as weapons, but are really just shields.
It's true. You're all of those things. I've been right about you since day one. It's fine, though. I am too.
She reaches to pat the pail back. What? Sorry, I don't know where I got the pail from. She reaches to pat the back of my hand twice and draws it away. The smirk forces its way across my lips, although I can't describe it as anything but cynical.
Well, you are only human after all.
Dog presses against the window across the room, water trailing down the glass. The pet of rain taps against the roof. Until it's over, I don't believe any of us will leave this couch.
Nice. They are. It's a bonding moment and it's beautiful.
Yosemite! Wherever are you hiding? Oh dear me. If she doesn't appear soon, I won't be able to tell her a story. Our picnic will be ruined. Whatever shall I do?
Wait, I'm right here! I want to hear the story!
Oh, I'm not so sure now. It's getting rather late. Perhaps we should return to the cabin.
Preposterous!
It's preposterous, dear.
Preposterous!
Preposterous.
Please, Zion! I want to hear the story about the swallow again! Tell me the swallow story!
Goodness. I suppose I have no choice then.
No, you certainly do not.
Very well. Come sit down, little one. You can't listen to a story from all the way over there, now can you?
Coming!
Straighten your posture.
But Zion...
Oh, that was
must I
gorgeous. Damn. Sheesh.
Only if you respect yourself.
I mean, to be fair, even earlier when we had just a distorted version, I was like, yeah, okay, this CG is gonna be gorgeous, but whoa, so yeah, they sure are.
Now...
Once upon a time, there was a poor man in a field. In the past, he had been quite popular, but rambunctiousness had gotten the better of him, and he had spent all his valuable possessions, including his clothes. While wandering the endless field, he saw a swallow overhead.
Aww. All right. And that's a wrap for episode 3, you mean?
Howdy, yo, campers, and welcome back to another edition of mine and Zion's Fireside Chat.
This explains the achievement, because I was like, what the fuck does that mean? But you know, the achievement we just unlocked for finishing this one is unlock the first/last CG of episode 3. And in my mind, I interpreted this one, before we started, I interpreted this one as episode 3 only having one CG. But then we got the picnic and we got all of the others and I was like, what do they mean? But I mean, it says first and last and not only. It doesn't say only, I just interpreted it as wrong. Symmetry is missing the perfect height in that situation. Oh, but that's so nice. That's so nice. Okay, let's have a fireside chat then. And then I will get up and move because my legs hurt.
Today we're going to talk about something we've seen a whole lot of people getting discombobulated over.
Why are you using that word?
Is it your head?
Not this time. Though to be really about the dealio with you, I'm starting to get a little sensitive about that.
Oh, no, we love your head.
Nah, this time we're gonna explain once and for all the difference between a national park and a national monument.
That's great.
There's a surprising amount of confusion over this, so hopefully we'll be able to help.
To be fair, I couldn't tell you either, but I mean, I don't even know the actual like definition of a national park specifically, so.
It ain't that surprising. I mean, they both got the word national in them. Most folks just zone out after the first word or phrase.
They do?
Oh, maybe only I do that.
Oh.
I love you, Yellowstone.
You only sound slightly disappointed.
Wait, why doesn't it sound like you mean it?
So, there are more details to go into, but the most important thing to understand is that a national park can only be established by an act of Congress. A national monument is established through a presidential proclamation.
Hello. Hmm?
We have a different cat visiting than we usually have at this point in time. Fascinating.
Huh? It's that simple? Hot diggity, this is gonna be our shortest episode yet!
Not so fast, Yellowstone. These nice people are here to be educated. We have to do our jobs for their sake.
Yeah. 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 ¿Lo ves tú? ¿Lo ves tú?
Are you sure? What if they get funny ideas and start making weird fan art about National Monument Girls? I don't think I'm ready for that.
It's a risk we have to be willing to take for education.
Okay.
For education. So, if national parks are decided by Congress and national monuments are decided by the president, doesn't that mean any old place can become one or the other?
Not quite. This is when things start to get a little more complicated.
Please bear with us by standing your ground and appearing large.
Yellowstone, you're confusing your bears again.
Even if that's true, it'll never stop me from bearing my soul.
For monuments, it's a little easier. As long as a building, site, or piece of land is significant in some way, then it can be declared a national monument. In fact, this is how we determine the difference between a national historic site and a national historical park.
Okay.
Don't tell me there's a difference. Boy, this is only getting more and more confusing.
I'll try my best to explain.
But many nationals, yeah.
Basically, sites can be historic in that significant events happened there, like Ford's Theater, where President Lincoln was assassinated. Meanwhile, parks are designated independently of any events that may have occurred there.
Come
They
here.
may be historical, but in order for a place to be considered a park, national historic or otherwise, it has to have opportunities for recreational activities.
Different cat than usual that wants to climb into the bed, apparently. Except he's getting on with the years, and his legs are not as good as they were when he was a young, spry kitten. So this... How old are you this year? This 13-year-old cat needs some help getting places, which is totally fine and understandable. I'm just surprised, because it's been a while since he wanted to climb into this bed specifically.
Like hiking and rock climbing and other trail junk.
That's right. Size is also important too.
Car?
Small parks used to be established on occasion, but in modern times, it's expected for a park to be big enough for broad use.
So if it makes you feel itty-bitty and tiny, then it's probably a park?
That's a good way to look at it, although there will always be exceptions.
There's always exceptions.
Seems like there's a tractor load of those.
Yeah, it's a teeny bit messy. Most monuments, parks, and sites are managed by the National Park Service, though. But sometimes, the Bureau of Land Management is in charge of them, or even other departments. Sometimes people push for things to be more organized, but that's probably a long ways off, so you shouldn't hold your breath. No, seriously, Yellowstone, stop holding your breath.
Oh well, guess for now we just gotta keep appreciating the messy beauty we got now. Who cares about names or what's official? As long as folks get a chance to see neato places, it's all square in my book.
Just make sure to come visit us first, or else we'll get lonely.
Very true, yeah.
Well, thanks for dropping by, but it looks like we gotta split. Catch you next time, campers, and remember to love our parks.
Oh yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey! Ooh, new CG we haven't actually seen.
Ranger Adams? I thought that the teepee were supposed to be like tents. So why is this one made of wood, huh, Ranger Adams?
Oh boy. Okay, next episode we get to deal with children. Fuck yeah.
Yippee!
That's not student. Okay, you know, this is a very good point of stopping because the cat has started climbing the bookcase, which is not good. No. No, thank you guys for coming by. Thank you also for the pat. I am trying to get life under control so I can stream more often because it's actually making me genuinely mad how little I've been streaming recently. But yeah, thank you for coming by tonight. Thank you for coming to join me for another episode of National Park Girls. All of the episodes have really had just about the perfect length to fit into a stream for me, so love that. I am taking my time. But yeah, thank you for coming by. Have a good night, everyone. I'm gonna send you guys over to Civil, who literally... Okay, never mind. I guess he is still a spry young kitten who just jumped out of the bed himself. Who just started playing 999. So not big on spoiler territory, but the Zero Escape series is one of my favorites of all time, which we haven't actually played on stream yet, because I do want to replay them at some point. But yeah, have a go.
Say hello from me as well. And for now, have a good night and see y'all soon. And bye-bye. Bye, bye-bye.